Chapter 1225. Mad Blade, are you all right? At that moment, Mad Blade and the four sages gathered. Mad Blade, who was slightly disheveled, said angrily, "The pseudo-heavenly court suddenly turned on me and attacked me. Damn bastards, these bastards." When they heard this, their faces were filled with anger. How dare they? However, Mad Blade quickly said, "The person behind with the sword should be a human powerhouse, longevity swordsman. Did the pseudo-heavenly court ally with the humans?" Speaking of longevity swordsman, he was mad with hatred. That fellow had pierced him with a sword in a special position, causing him immense pain. His wound had not healed even now. "It's good that you're here. The pseudo-heavenly court's 3 sages are behind. Kill longevity swordsman, and that despicable person first, then kill the 3 sages." Dao Quang's face was filled with rage. "How dare you humans? Not only did you team up with the Ash Cat, you even dared to take the initiative to attack me." Mad Blade stopped running after he finished speaking. Instead, he turned back quickly and shouted, "Kill them, then attack the humans and kill the cat. Eldest senior brother should be here soon after killing that person." Eldest senior brother, Mad Blade, was the sacred martial god's junior brother and fire god's disciple. He also hated the green cat to the bone. Fire God Continent was destroyed by Tian Chun of the Cat Palace back then. Fire God died in battle, and the Fire God's bloodline was almost wiped out. Fortunately, the sacred martial god stood up in time and rebuilt the Saint Martial Continent. Otherwise, their bloodline might have been wiped out in the long river of history. Today, the sacred martial god teamed up with the god powerhouses of the other continents to ambush the heavenly king of origins. If they killed the heavenly king, it might not just be the sacred martial god who would come. Instead, several gods would descend together to suppress the heavenly king. The others did not say much. They quickly followed Mad Blade toward Old Man Li and the others. Ahead, Old Man Li stopped, his face full of regret and disappointment. They failed. Not only did they fail, but the other party's reinforcements had arrived. They were done for. Old Man Li glanced at King Huai. Seeing that he wanted to run, he knew he could not stop him. He did not count on him either, so he said quickly, "Go, do me a small favor. Inform Fengyun, Yue, and the other saints. Yes, and Rainbow Butterfly Sage from the Spirit Emperor's bloodline. Tell them that Chu has appeared and wants to kill the cat. Ask them for help." Then King Huai looked at him, somewhat surprised. "You're still not leaving?" Old Man Li snorted coldly. "Leave? Leave?" He had to take these guys for a stroll in the Taboo Sea to buy some time, so that the humans could prepare. At that moment, he kept thinking about the gray cat. He wanted the gray cat to know that a beginner martial arts powerhouse had arrived. Little did they know that the green cat already knew about it. As for his call, it was actually useless. How could a person who could not even find the origin communicate with the cat? Old Man Li was the only one who did not realize this. No longer paying attention to the Huai King, Old Man Li broke through the air and swiftly unleashed his chi. He yelled, "You sneaky fellows! Even when martial kings and human kings were around, I didn't see you dare to come to the human realm. Now you dare to come. Trash will always be trash. You've been hiding for tens of thousands of years, but I've never seen you guys become a little braver." Courting death. In the next moment, several weapons flew over, suppressing the void and shattering the world. Seeing this, the Huai King fled without hesitation. He fled without a trace, not toward the back, but toward the front. The 3 saints were rushing over from behind. He was afraid of encountering them, and it would be even more troublesome. As the Huai King fled, a beginner martial saint quickly chased after him. The others did not care. The Huai King's chi was not weak, but it was a little unstable. He was probably not that person's match. More importantly, the sacred martial god, and the others were in that direction. Although they were far away, if they rushed over halfway and encountered the Huai King, it would probably be a matter of one punch. In everyone's opinion, running toward the Huai King was just courting death. At that moment, a few people quickly rushed toward Old Man Li. Old Man Li did not dare to resist. After all, he had only reached the Emperor realm. How could he be a match for these people? At that moment, he could only flee frantically. As he ran toward the 3 saints of the catacombs, he turned back and yelled, "Just 4 people. This time, the humans have joined forces with the new heavenly court and acknowledged the heavenly court's rule. They want to exterminate the beginner martial arts bloodline. Let's see how long you can stay free." As soon as he said this, their expressions changed slightly. Soon, Dao Kuang yelled coldly, "Heavenly court? Do they deserve it?" The ancient heavenly court was so powerful in the past, but it was destroyed, let alone them. When the gods descend upon the 3 realms, it will be the time of your extinction. The 9 saints were strong, but they were not afraid. The 3 realms, invincible heavenly king. When the gods descend, they would sweep away everything and return to beginner martial arts. Over here, a few people were chasing after Old Man Li. Over there, Fang Ping had already sensed something. Zhang Tao was also surprised. He said in a low voice, "The Huai King." He sensed the Huai King's aura. The Huai King was actually being chased by the saints, and he even ran away. This was strange. This fellow's aura was unstable, but Zhang Tao felt that he was indeed much stronger than before. He was a little like an emperor, but also a little like a saint. Neither. His strength was somewhat difficult to judge. His aura was also very chaotic. He did not know how this fellow did it. Fang Ping could not be bothered. He snorted coldly and said, "You all have a death wish. We've only been in for a few days, and you already dare to come out and attack the humans. Is this to welcome our return?" Having said that, Fang Ping shouted, "Today, we'll slaughter these saints. If there's no chance, then we won't find trouble with the catacombs. We'll return and destroy the beginner mainland." Insolence. Fang Ping did not take the beginner mainland seriously. The current him knew a lot about beginner mainland. He had also heard about the sacred martial lineage from the dragon transformation. A sacred martial god might not be weak, but was he a match for the humans? They were extremely daring. They actually dared to kill the cat when he left, and now they wanted to attack Old Man Li. Of course, Old Man Li attacked first. Fang Ping simply ignored it. If these fellows were not prepared to attack the cat and enter the human world, Old Man Li would not take the initiative to find trouble at this time. What's that? As the Huai King was escaping, he suddenly stopped in his tracks. What was that in front of him? At this time, a black passageway tore through the void and descended directly in front of him. On the other side of the passageway, Fang Ping was in the lead. Martial King and Dragon Transformation were both present. At this moment, no one was suppressing their aura. Their aura was bursting, shaking the heavens and the earth. Fang Ping also no longer suppressed his aura. His eyes were cold as he moved quickly in the passageway, saying coldly, "Beginner, Huai King." The Huai King had sensed the aura. If he still could not sense it at this time, he would be an idiot. He was stunned. Fang Ping and the others had come out so fast. Did they not say that Fang Ping was dead? But now, right now, Fang Ping's aura was incomparably powerful. His vitality was soaring, giving him the feeling that he was much stronger than the 9 saints. Could it be that he had become a heavenly king? He was stunned. Behind him, The beginner powerhouse who was chasing after them was also stunned. He hurriedly shouted, "Who are you?" "I am the sacred martial continent, a disciple of the sacred martial god. The person who will kill you." Fong Ping shouted coldly. The heaven-confining bell was tossed out. At this moment, an incomparably huge cover covered him. The other party was shocked. He turned and ran. Although the beginner and the origin did not get along, it was not to the point where they would kill each other when they met. Moreover, he was also a saint powerhouse, and there was a god behind him. Ordinary origin powerhouses, even if they were break 7, would not easily get into conflict with them. However, he did not expect that the person opposite him would attack without saying a word. Fong Ping stepped out into the air. The heaven-confining bell was incomparably huge, covering the heavens and the earth as it pressed down. The void was instantly locked. Before the saint could escape, he was suppressed in the void. At this moment, he did not even have the chance to break the void. This beginner powerhouse did not succeed in tearing the void. He shouted immediately, "The sacred martial god will be here soon. Then he can go and die." Fong Ping stepped into the void, locked by the heaven-confining bell. He did not retreat or give way. He did not block or defend. Holding the god-slaying saber, he roared and slashed. At this moment, the heaven-confining bell was also suppressing him. Not only that, a total of 20 saint tokens and 4 heavenly king seals appeared, suppressing him again. At this moment, even Fong Ping's consumption was frighteningly huge. With so many divine weapons, if he did not have the origin chi and vitality recovery ability, it would not be enough even if he used up all his energy. A powerhouse who had the combat strength of break 6 had used up everything. One could imagine how powerful the suppressing force was. Under the King Huai's slightly frightened gaze, the person who was still chasing after him just now had a slightly dull look in his eyes. In the next moment, his vitality erupted, his golden body dazzled. With a roar, wearing a glove, he threw a punch at Fong Ping. There was a rumble. A loud sound rang out. Fong Ping's body did not even tremble the slightest. At this moment, both of them were close. Fong Ping's saber slashed down. Thud! An ear-piercing sound of metal breaking rang out. Under Fong Ping's all-out suppression, this saint-level powerhouse was split into 2 halves by Fong Ping's saber. The god-slaying saber's aura rapidly obliterated his vitality. The 2 halves of the golden body wanted to gather together, but they were suppressed by Fong Ping's saber aura. With a rumble, Fong Ping slashed his saber again. 1 half of the golden body was chopped into pieces. The other half of the golden body wanted to escape. Fong Ping punched through the void. 6 levels of break, 6 shattered. The cracked space directly engulfed the other half of the golden body. There was a continuous puffing sound, sparks flashing. A shrill scream was heard. In the next moment, the golden body disappeared. Fong Ping waited for a while and suddenly frowned. Behind him, Long Bien coughed softly and said, "Beginner martial artists die. No heavenly change." Fong Ping suddenly cursed. "Damn it! If that's the case, how are you going to announce our return?" He was waiting for the heavenly change, but it did not happen. He was sure that he had killed this guy. He thought that the sky would collapse, but it did not. Beside him, the King Huai wanted to run. In the next moment, Fong Ping stared at him and said coldly, "Interesting. Saint level. If I kill you, will the heavenly change?" "Spare me, King Huai." The King Huai said quickly, "Martial King Huai, I'm helping Li Changshin kill the enemy. My identity has not been exposed yet. As long as you kill Mad Blade, the catacombs will not know my strength. I'll hide in the catacombs and will definitely be of help to you." The King Huai was so anxious that his forehead was covered in sweat. He said hurriedly, "I promise. I'll think of a way to help you find an opportunity to seize the saint's token and heavenly king's seal. If the catacombs make any moves, I'll inform you immediately. Spare me." He was stunned. A saint had been killed by Fang Ping so easily. At this moment, he could only give everything he had to survive. As for resistance, the martial king had not made a move yet. Long Bien, whose aura was much stronger than before, had not made a move either. How would he dare to resist? Fang Ping looked at him coldly. Very quickly, he sneered and said, "Fine. No matter how vicious you are, I'm not afraid that you'll be even more vicious than me. I'll spare your worthless life today. If you can't bring me enough benefits, you won't live past 3 months." As soon as he finished speaking, Fang Ping punched out and shouted, "Don't resist." The King Huai's expression changed dramatically, but he gritted his teeth and did not resist. With a rumble, the golden body exploded. A wisp of mentality floated out. At the same time, Fang Ping had also blasted out a passage. This wisp of mentality floated along the passage and floated tens of thousands of miles away in the blink of an eye. Zhang Tao and the others did not speak. Fang Ping did not want to kill the King Huai. He just wanted to erase his aura to prevent Hong Yu and the others from discovering him. Since the King Huai wanted to be a spy, now that he had been discovered by Hong Yu and the others, it would lose its effect. Fang Ping did not care about the King Huai anymore. If he was lucky, he would not be discovered. If he was discovered, Hong Yu and the others might kill him. This depended on his own luck. Fang Ping could not be bothered. At this moment, Fang Ping grabbed the boxing glove that even a level 6 could not erase. He smiled. This was a good item. It was a pretty good reward. However, killing a saint actually did not cause the sky to change. This made him extremely unhappy. Fang Ping, who was unhappy, made a move. The next moment, he shook the heaven-confining bell. This was a bell, like a pendulum clock, with a bell hammer. If the sky bell could be sounded, then so could this thing. At this moment, the bell enlarged. It was incomparably huge and started shaking. Dang, dang, dang. The sound of the bell resounded in all directions. The divine weapon vibrated, the sound extremely loud. 3 consecutive rings resounded in heaven and earth. Fang Ping's loud voice rang together with the sound of the bell, echoing in all directions. "You killed a beginner martial saint. A saint has fallen." The bell rang 3 times to send you off. Don't be enemies with humans in your next life. I, Fang Ping, see how many people I can send off today. Can I ring the bell 6 times to send your gods back? His voice resounded in all directions, traveling thousands of miles. Old Zhang was speechless. He wanted to roll his eyes. It was just killing a person. Why did you make such a big fuss? Did you need someone else to add to the fun? Dragon Change and Gong Juanzi were also speechless. Were you afraid that others would not know? Were you afraid that the 3 realms would not know that you killed another saint? At this moment, in the distance, Wild Knife and the others were stunned. They were really stunned. In the blink of an eye, they did not even surround Li Changsheng. The person who was chasing after King Huai was dead. That was a beginner martial saint. Even if he encountered a heavenly king, he would not die so quickly. At this moment, Fang Ping's voice was heard. The 3 catacombs saints who were chasing did not hesitate at all. In the blink of an eye, they turned around and fled. Fang Ping, who killed King Sun, was back. Not only Fang Ping. At this moment, because of the heaven-confining bell, many people were looking in this direction. They noticed Fang Ping and felt the other strong qis around Fang Ping. The bell was still echoing. No one knew that a beginner martial saint was not dead. Of course, he was not much better now. Dead was dead. Fang Ping's golden body expanded, reaching thousands of meters tall. like an ancient giant. He took a step, and the void shook. In the blink of an eye, he was 1,000 miles away. How dare you kill my human powerhouses? Don't you dare to leave. Fong Ping snorted coldly. The heaven-confining bell was thrown out instantly. It began to cover the sky. At the same time, the saint tokens and heavenly king seals appeared too. At this moment, the few catacomb saints who were escaping were so angry that their eyes almost popped out. For heavenly king seals and 20 saint tokens. How many people did Fong Ping kill to collect so many saint tokens and heavenly king seals? Especially the King Qian seal. They recognized it and were even more scared out of their wits. Could it be that King Qian was dead? No, they did not sense it. Did that mean that King Qian was defeated and lost the King Qian seal? While they were in shock, the remaining 4 beginner martial saints were also shocked. The human powerhouse, Fong Ping, he actually came out. Retreat. Dao Quang roared. Go. They were in trouble. Just as they were about to escape to the side, a figure appeared in the next moment. Zhang Tao laughed. This way is blocked. The few of them turned around hurriedly. Their dragon transformation broke through the void and came over laughing. This way is blocked too. The few of them could not stay calm anymore. They ran forward with their heads down. There was no one in front of them to stop them. However, at this moment, Fong Ping's voice rang in everyone's ears. Qingma, Sky Sword, break through the void and stop them. If they escape, I'll kill all of you. Domineering. However, in the face of 3 heavenly king powerhouses, Sky Sword did not hesitate at all. With a roar, he turned around and slashed, breaking the void. Qingma and Haiyu did not hesitate at all. The 4 of you will stay and hold Fong Ping back. We have to go back and meet up with the other 6 saints. How dare you? Dao Quang roared angrily. He was so angry that smoke was coming out of his head. Sky Sword and the rest did not care about him. What did it matter if others died or not? Did they have to choose? As soon as they attacked, Hong Yu, who had just broken through the void and came over, felt helpless. He was a step too late. Forget it. If they attacked, then so be it. Although he did not want to have any entanglement with the beginner Martial Saint clan, it was hard to say if the sacred Martial Saint clan could survive today. If they offended them, so be it. Hong Yu did not say anything. He did not meet up with Fong Ping and the rest. Once again, he tore through the void and rushed toward Sky Sword and the rest. He brought them away and did not participate in this battle. Perhaps a heavenly king would die today. Whether it was a human or a beginner, this was most likely a beginner. That old heavenly king garrison had not appeared yet. Sky Sword and the rest turned around and attacked. They broke through the void and blocked for a moment. At this time, the heaven-confining bell had already descended rapidly, suppressing the void. The 4 powerhouses roared. One by one, they took out their weapons and attacked the heaven-confining bell. They were all saint-rank powerhouses. Their weapons were not any weaker than holy weapons. Their control was very high. If the 4 powerhouses joined forces, they could even fight a heavenly king. Fong Ping's heaven-confining bell was hit slightly off course. Fong Ping was slightly annoyed. He shouted, "Let's attack together. Let's finish this quickly. After we're done, we'll destroy the sacred martial continent." "Who asked you to show off?" Old John laughed. "How embarrassing. You still have to rely on me." Dragon transformation did not wait any longer. The 3 heavenly kings attacked together. Seeing this, Gong Juanzi smiled. A world descended. He was also a saint-rank powerhouse. Fighting against a beginner Martial Saint clan seemed quite interesting. 3 heavenly kings and one saint rank powerhouse against 4 saint rank powerhouses. One could imagine the outcome. The 3 heavenly kings joined forces. Zhang Tao and Fang Ping were not newbies yet. Even a heavenly king with a breakthrough of 7 would have to be careful and suffer a setback, let alone them. In the past, the human race had always been crushed by others' combat strength. Today, they were completely crushed under the watchful eyes of some top-notch powerhouses from all directions. A large number of saint orders and heavenly king seals pressed down. Fang Ping was extremely violent. His huge golden body broke through the void and arrived. He had his eyes on Mad Blade, Old Zhang, and the rest were dealing with the other 3 saint rank powerhouses. Fang Ping broke into their circle directly. His huge palm grabbed toward Mad Blade. Mad Blade roared angrily. He slashed at Fang Ping with his saber. Saber aura soared to the sky. With a splat, Fang Ping's palm was sliced open, leaving a deep, bloody mark. Mad Blade was not weak. At this stage, he was also fighting back desperately. Fang Ping felt embarrassed again. After his enhancement, his limit was as high as 7 million calories. He was actually injured by a puny saint rank powerhouse. How embarrassing! He could not let anyone see this. Fang Ping was deceiving himself. He quickly healed his injuries. Golden light erupted around him. His golden body shone brightly, covering everything. In the next moment, Fang Ping's huge palm grabbed hold of Mad Blade. With all his might, he squeezed. Rumble! The rumbling continued. Mad Blade screamed in pain. However, only his golden body's flesh and blood were crushed by Fang Ping. Although many of his bones were broken, they did not explode. His bones showed a faint jade color. Fang Ping gritted his teeth. F***CK. He was embarrassed again. He did not squeeze him to death. The domineering strike that he had prepared to kill the saint rank powerhouse failed again. Old Zhang and Long Bian suddenly felt like laughing. Although they were still fighting, they really felt like laughing at this moment. They were not the only ones who felt like laughing. At this moment, Hong Yu, who had already arrived beside Sky Sword, and the rest, coughed a few times to hide his laughter. He was afraid that he would laugh out loud. Fang Ping. Interesting. A distance away. King Qian's expression was initially unpleasant. At this moment, he suddenly laughed and teased. This fellow is so arrogant. He actually wants to crush a new martial saint single-handedly. Does he think he is the Emperor of Batian? At the side, King Zhen's face was still slightly pale. At this moment, he heard this and said, "Should we make a move?" King Qian waved his hand. "Let them fight each other. If we don't help them and the new martial artists, they are all not good people. There are many new martial artists. Fang Ping is so domineering. He killed 5 saint-rank powerhouses when he appeared. How can the new martial artists let this matter go?" "That's true," King Zhen said, a little unwilling. "We lost the Heavenly King seal. This bastard, it's okay." King Qian said in a low voice, "It may not be a good thing to obtain the Heavenly King seal now. Everyone is watching. If the heavens want him dead, he must make him crazy." Fang Ping took advantage of the situation and obtained benefits. His next target is King Kuan, Tian Chief, and the rest. With enemies everywhere, I also want to see if Li Zhan and the rest will continue to be crazy with him. This person is too crazy. If this continues, everyone in the 3 realms will be in danger. Even the new martial origin cannot tolerate him. The human race may not be able to tolerate him. Fang Ping was too arrogant, and his ambition was too big. Yes, ambition. 20 saint tokens and 4 heavenly king seals. This was ambition. Once the heavenly king seal, saint token, and 9 emperor seal were gathered, Even if Fong Ping did not think of anything else, he would still represent the orthodoxy of the three realms and the hope of breaking through the ninth heaven. By then, other than the human race, no one could tolerate him. On the other side, Moon Spirit was also watching coldly from the side. Heaven's Fate was also hiding in the dark, observing sneakily. He did not dare to show himself. Just as the powerhouses around were observing, Fong Ping roared angrily. His roar echoed in the surroundings. With a loud bang and an explosive sound, Mad Saber was completely crushed by him. Fong Ping grabbed the Changdao. He reached out and picked up a few jade-colored bones, stuffing them directly into his storage space. Dang, dang, dang. Another 3 loud sounds were heard. Fong Ping's voice shook the surroundings. He shouted again, "Send the second new martial artist saint on his way. Have a safe journey." 2 consecutive rings. This was not the end. It was just the beginning. In the next moment, old Zhang whipped a new martial artist saint into pieces. The bell rang again. "Send the third new martial artist saint back." Dang, dang, dang. Heavenly Emperor Dragon Transformation's giant tail swept through the void. Another saint was blown up. "Send the fourth new martial artist saint back to life." At this moment, a deafening roar came from afar. It was only now that the first bell rang over there. "Fong Ping, you're courting death." A beam of vitality, light beam broke through the void. In a place far away, it rose and burned the void. Fong Ping turned around and walked forward. He did not care about the last saint and shouted, "Sacred Marshal, how dare you provoke the humans? Today, I'll send you on your way and destroy your sacred martial lineage." Fong Ping seemed to be more anxious than sacred martial. He broke through the void frantically and charged over there. All the powerhouses who saw this scene gritted their teeth. Sacred Marshal was really unlucky to provoke this lunatic. He might not be able to survive today. However, it seemed like Sacred Marshal was not the only one in the new martial artist lineage. It all depended on Sacred Marshal's luck. If he was unlucky, the fire god lineage might really be wiped out today. At this moment, old man Li at the side was actually already stunned. How savage! Did this kid take stimulants? How did he become so strong in just a few days? Now, he was actually howling and wanting to kill a heavenly king. At this moment, the entire Forbidden Sea was silent. Some of the overseas Immortal Islands powerhouses were trembling. Kai-Dai and the other sages all paled. Was the human king really this powerful? After all, they did not see him killing King Sun previously. But now, to kill a saint, 4 of them died in the blink of an eye. The last one was also in a precarious situation. He probably did not have long to live. Now, he was taking the initiative to kill a new martial god. They were not the only ones who were stunned. At this moment, even Sheng Wu was stunned. He had never seen such a ferocious fellow. After killing one of his men, he shouted a command, and the other party didn't hesitate at all. In the blink of an eye, the other party charged over to kill them. The woman in purple, who was besieged and riddled with scars, was also a little stunned. This was the guy that Ash Cat chose. Wasn't he too reckless? Where are the 4 new martial gods here? Are you sure you sense them clearly? Chapter 12:26. As soon as Fong Ping returned, he announced his return with the 5 saints. The bell continued to ring. It was not until Fong Ping had traveled hundreds of thousands of miles that the sacred martial saint could hear all the bells ringing. His face was livid. Send the 5th Saint Martial Beginner on his way. When he heard Fong Ping's last sentence, Sacred Martial was already furious. 5 great sages. Beginner martial cultivation was actually slower than original source cultivation. Any expert who cultivated to the martial saint level would have to spend tens of thousands of years if they did not walk the path of original source. 5 great sages. This was the strongest power in the Saint Martial continent apart from him. There were only 6 great saints in the entire Saint Martial continent. Now, there was only one person overseeing the Saint Martial continent. Sheng Wu's face turned red and pale. In a single day, 5 saints died in battle. One had to know that once a great martial sage advanced to the heavenly king realm, he would not be a weakling among the heavenly kings. There were pros and cons to being a great martial sage. If a top-notch martial saint could forge a jade bone and advance, they could directly break through to breaking 7. Therefore, every sage was the foundation and confidence of a novice martial artist. When these beginner martial sages encountered origin sages, they would win 9 out of 10 battles. 5 great sages. If not for the fact that they had encountered 3 heavenly kings today, they might have been killed by the broken 6 heavenly kings alone. But now it was all gone. Fang Ping, the sacred martial's roar shook the heavens. Fang Ping, how dare you kill them all? In the beginning, only one sage had fallen. Although he was furious, he could still accept it. But now, all 5 of them were dead. Among them were his disciples, as well as the disciples of his master, the fire god. They were his fellow disciples, 2nd-generation novice martial artist. However, who would have thought that he would perish in the sea of bitterness as soon as he left the Saint Martial continent? He was angry and snarling. In the distance, Fang Ping shook the heaven-confining bell and sent away the last beginner saint. His tone was cold, his mentality fluctuations radiating in all directions. Holy Marshal, don't leave since you're here. How audacious of you. If you were an ultimate expert, I would have given you some leeway. You're not even an ultimate expert, yet you dare to provoke the human race. Bastard! The 2 of them conversed through the air. Over there, at the entrance of the fake heavenly tomb, King Kuan, who had just walked out, snorted when he heard this. This king is extremely strong, but I don't see you concede to me. At this moment, several top-notch experts walked out from the entrance of the passageway. Heaven-subduing king, Kuan king, sea-suppressing envoy, divine weapon master, they were all top-notch people. At this moment, these people were no longer in a state of mutual hostility. Heavenly King subduing grinned and said, 8,000 years have passed, and there are more and more powerhouses in the Tao of origin. Back then, there were almost no 8 breakers, but now there are quite a few. I wonder if this is what the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors want to see. He was calm and unhurried. He was not in a hurry to get involved. The weapon master had just awakened, and he could sense the auras of the experts around him. He sighed emotionally. Back then, there were many supreme experts in the path of beginner martial arts. As for the lineage of origin, even I was a step behind. Now that 8,000 years have passed, I didn't expect everyone to have improved so much. In these 8,000 years, there might have been a break in the middle, but there was no break in the top heavenly kings. Almost none of them had died. Over the past 8,000 years, all of them had made considerable progress. Back then, most of those who had broken 6 had broken 7, and those who had broken 7 had broken 8 or were on the verge of breaking 8. Their emotions were complicated. Was this what the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors wanted to see? Of those top heavenly kings back then, not many had died. More than half of the 8 kings had survived, and many of the 36 saints had also survived. If the weapon master had not participated in the battle, he might not have died. As for the dead heavenly kings, or rather, the one who had been attacked, it seemed to be Sherpa. Actually, the crowd wasn't surprised. It wasn't strange for Tengu and Sherpa to be beaten to death. Among the heavenly kings, these 2 were not good people. They dared to do anything. If they were alive, they might ruin some people's plans. Tengu did not die before because it had left the heavenly realm. No one killed it when the battle broke out. It might have something to do with Ash Cat. Maybe it was kept alive to protect Ash Cat. Emperor Ling and the others might have helped. In other words, the heavenly kings who liked to cause trouble were almost all killed. Even if they could revive, they could only show up now. It was not only the Tao of origin, but also the path of beginner martial arts. Those who were rebellious and powerful were either dead or trapped in the heavenly tomb. The saints and the others were all rising stars. They were not as domineering as the true beginner martial artists, nor were they as rebellious. The experts who already stood at the pinnacle of the three realms felt less scheming and more emotional at that moment. See, Guardian said coldly, "Li Jun, I'm not Li Jun. I'm Li Xuanxia." See, Guardian almost swallowed him in one bite. "You used to call yourself Li Yu. Now that the weapon master is alive, you're not Li Yu anymore. You used to call yourself Li Jun, but now you're denying it. What's the point? Not bothering with him." See, Guardian said coldly, "All these years, you've been hiding in the human race. You've been here since 8,000 years ago. You should have been there during the battle. Were you on the side of the beginner martial artists or the origin? Is your teacher alive or dead? Is the sun god, who was famous in the beginner martial arts, really dead?" Everyone looked at Heavenly King subduing. Heavenly King subduing said casually, "How would I know if he's alive or dead? You know that beginner martial artists have no origin. Experts of the origin, Tao have some clues about whether they're alive or dead. Beginner martial artists, who knows?" "You don't know?" King Kuin said mockingly, "You don't know your teacher?" When the Immortal Origin Project started, your teacher started to contact people from all over. I've always suspected that the 9 Sovereigns' agreement to start the Immortal Origin Project had something to do with your teacher. The Weapon Master also said in a low voice, "Senior Sun God did communicate with people from all over. He was one of the few ultimate experts of the beginner martial lineage who did not oppose the origin. He also taught many people. The 9 Sovereigns and 4 Emperors all benefited from him. If not for him, the Immortal Origin Project might not have started. Li Chun, was it your teacher's plan for you to guard the human world?" Heavenly King, subduing, frowned. It was rare that he did not jump around. He said seriously, "What happened back then had nothing to do with my teacher. My teacher no longer cared about worldly affairs in his later years. Back then, he only did it to stop beginner martial artists from opposing the origin." King Kuan laughed coldly. "Nothing to do with it. That might not be the case. When the beginner martial arts started, your teacher was one of the first powerhouses to walk on the beginner martial arts path. He even fought with that person before. If it wasn't for that person who opened up the origin of the great Tao and won in the end, perhaps this world should be called the Yang Realm. This path now might be the Yang Realm Tao. Is your teacher really willing to die of old age like this?" Heavenly King's subduing expression was unfriendly. He did not say another word. "How can your teacher not be ambitious?" King Kuan said mockingly. "He is very active." King Zhen entered the sequence of the 8 sovereigns. "You, Li Zhen, frequent the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors Badamanda. Heavenly King Zhan proved his Tao in the past. He is on good terms with Do, Ba, and the others. He also has a strong network in beginner martial arts. Li Zhen, in the 3 realms, the one who could cause the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors to fight is either your teacher or the one who opened up the origin. You're guarding the human world now. Do you really not know anything?" See, Guardian Envoy said coldly, Back then, Heavenly King Zhan pointed an arrow at the sovereigns and began to oppose the immortal origin project. Did he notice something? But because the 9 sovereigns and the other 3 emperors were on good terms with your teacher, he was also considered your teacher's disciple. He could not say anything and could only oppose it forcefully. Later, Heavenly King Zhan went to the celestial court alone. I think he wanted to talk and did not want to fight. Otherwise, he would not have gone alone. In the end, Heavenly King Zhan died and was ambushed in the celestial court. Is it related to your teacher? Nonsense. King Subduing King said coldly. Teacher had just broken through 8 years ago. How could he cause the war of the 3 realms to break out? The other leaders of the beginner martial lineage are stronger than my teacher. The 9 sovereigns are not unrelated to them. The 9 sovereigns learned Tao from everywhere. The 4 emperors did not only learn my teacher's Tao. If it was according to what you said, the war of the myriad Tao would not have broken out. At the level of the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors, how could they act recklessly just because of some old friendship? Both Guardian C and King Kuan sneered. The weapon master did not sneer. He said slowly, Li Zhen, I also learned Tao from Senior Young God and have always been on good terms with you. Today, I just want to know if the war between beginner martial and origin breaks out again. How will you choose? King Subduing King said coldly, Choose what? Is it up to me to care about that? Why should I choose a side? Whoever is on my side, I will be on his side. It's that simple. Whether it's beginner martial or origin, I don't care what path you choose. I have no choice. King Kuan sneered. You're on your own. Fang Ping and Zhang Tao are not fools. Do you really not understand some things? Forget it now. When the day comes, I hope you won't regret it. When the time comes, I look forward to the 2 of them turning on you. That might be a good show. King Subduing King sneered. Think about yourself. Don't be killed by your second brother. Only then will you have a chance to see the end. Your second brother probably wants to kill you more than anyone else. Humph! King Kuan snorted coldly and flew away. His voice echoed around them. What happened back then will come to an end sooner or later. If my father is really dead, I will take revenge for what happened back then sooner or later. Some things have been dragged on for nearly 10,000 years. It's time to come to an end. King Kuan left. Guardian C also stepped into the air and left without saying a word. At the entrance, the weapon master glanced at King Subduing King. After a long time, he said slowly, When the war broke out, I went. I didn't see Senior Young God or sense his chi. I'm afraid he might not be dead. King Subduing King said nothing. The weapon master said again, The war back then was shrouded in mystery. I'm afraid there will be clues soon. Li Zhen, the young god, has returned. What will you do? King Subduing King said impatiently, Why do you care what I do? All these years, you're still like this. King Subduing King ignored him. He flew away and rushed toward Fang Ping. As soon as he left, the weapon master shook his head and left quickly too. Only when they were all gone did Li Shu show himself. He glanced at Fang Ping and the others, then at the catacombs. His gaze was uncertain. After a while, he said coldly, Now, the powerhouses who have broken through 8 have begun to appear. Teacher, do you have to go against me? Teacher, I don't have a rebellious disciple like you, Li Zhu said in a low voice. Teacher, do you have to explain clearly what's right and what's wrong? Back then, if you didn't insist on taking my body, I wouldn't have attacked you. Ridiculous. In his mind, a voice rang out. Li Zhu, why do you have to speak so righteously? Back then, you already had the intention to devour my origin. You tempted me not to resurrect and directly took over your body. Do you think I still don't understand? Teacher, you've misunderstood. Hypocrite, Li Zhu said calmly. If you didn't have this intention, you wouldn't be here today. Your disciple still has to say that you've fallen behind. Among the 3 messengers, the other 2 messengers have broken through 8. King Kuan broke through 8. Li Jun broke through 8. Tengu broke through 8. Tianqin broke through 8. Feng, who was injured by the Demon Emperor, should have broken through 8 as well. Teacher, even if you're free now, what can you do? Even Fang Ping and Zhang Tao of the human race have hopes of breaking through 8 soon. There's also the chaotic heavenly king during the chaotic era, and Hong Yu during the divine dynasty. Hong Yu's strength is unknown, but the chaotic heavenly king has hopes of breaking through 8 soon. Can't you see everything clearly, teacher? Are you saying that you also have hopes of breaking through 8? The palm print envoy's voice was sarcastic. Li Zhu was extremely calm. Do you think it's impossible, teacher? People like us are the hope of the past 8,000 years. Is breaking through 8 that difficult? If you didn't create trouble for me, perhaps I would have broken through one of the gates long ago. Create trouble. The palm print envoy's voice was shrill, somewhat losing his composure. You suppressed me for thousands of years, you rebellious disciple. Teacher, you asked for it, Li Zhu said coldly. Back then, I wanted to bring you back to life, but you had already consumed the fruit of life. If you had come back to life that day, everything that happened after that would not have happened. Humph! The palm print envoy did not speak anymore, sinking into silence. Li Zhu did not care about him. He stepped into the void and said lightly, Teacher, you want to prove your Tao and transcend. I want that too. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors, those who are not dead, will probably appear soon. The chaos of the 3 realms will probably end in a few years. Teacher, you are still entangled with me today. If this goes on, I'm afraid you won't be able to escape. Li Zhu did not get a response. He laughed and did not speak anymore, disappearing into the dark void. Over here, these top-notch powerhouses were discussing. On the other side, Fang Ping was already close to the battlefield. At this moment, Fang Ping had already sensed their qi dynamics. 5 powerhouses, including the girl in purple who was surrounded in the middle. She was probably Emperor Ling's niece. Fang Ping had even pretended to be her descendant that day. As for the other 4, Fang Ping only saw a middle-aged martial artist. The other 3 only revealed their qi dynamics, but did not show themselves, hiding in the void. Fang Ping watched from afar, his expression changing slightly, difficult to deal with. That middle-aged martial artist was probably the sacred martial god. He did not know if he was at breakthrough 6 or 7, but the feeling he gave Fang Ping was not inferior to King Sun and the others. As for the other 3, he did not sense the vitality of 2 of them, but he sensed majestic mentality. Like a vast ocean, they were beginner martial artists on the mentality path. These martial artists were even more difficult to deal with, especially beginner martial artists. Fang Ping was not very familiar with their combat style. At this moment, his expression was slightly solemn. 4 powerhouses. The first 4 heavenly kings from the Chu Wu lineage appeared. As for Fang Ping sensed for a while. She was probably between peak breakthrough 6 and 7. As for her specific strength, it was hard to judge without fighting. Fang Ping sensed the weapon in Er's hand. It should be a divine weapon, probably Cat Palace. Fang Ping had heard about this from the cat tree before. When Cat Palace was sleeping, came to the Cat Palace, took away the Cat Palace, and threw Cat Palace out. When Big Cat woke up, he slept in the wilderness without a home. Troublesome. Fang Ping was a little depressed. It was quite troublesome. 4 heavenly king powerhouses were different from 4 heavenly king powerhouses together. If the 4 were separated, it would not be considered troublesome. However, when the four were in one, it was very troublesome. Just like the four saints, no one would be a match for a heavenly king alone. The heavenly king was still confident in hunting down the four saints. However, when the four of them were together, the pressure they brought was something that even the heavenly king had to be careful of. At this moment, the four beginner martial gods were gathered together. This was very difficult to deal with. However, Fang Ping was not afraid of them. Now that the humans were not weak, old Zhang and the others had also arrived. Fang Ping looked over in the air and said coldly, "These old fellows, I didn't find trouble with you, but you dared to find trouble with me first. Looks like I'll have to send you on your way today." At this moment, the battle gradually stopped. Who was surrounded, could not help but glance at Fang Ping. A little strange. Was this Fang Ping? Too young, too domineering. This kind of personality reminded her of a few powerhouses, Tengu, one. These people's personalities were somewhat similar to his. However, there were some differences. They were all very domineering, all very strong, but the feeling that Fang Ping gave her was that he was more ostentatious. On the other side, the Saint Martial God's expression was ice cold. He did not speak. At this moment, a pair of gloves appeared in the middle-aged martial artist's hands, slowly. It was as thin as a cicada's wings, sticking to his hands like skin. The Saint Martial God's flesh, that was glowing with golden light, earlier gradually turned into a jade color. Not looking at anymore, the Saint Martial God looked at Fang Ping, his angry expression dissipating. He opened his mouth and said, "Fang Ping, it's me. You're very good." The Saint Martial God laughed. "It's rare for a beginner martial artist to have such an experience. In 8,000 years, you're the first powerhouse to kill so many beginner martial artists. I didn't want to be enemies with you guys at first. Killing the cat has been a goal since ancient times. It's not a spur-of-the-moment idea. Fang Ping, you have to understand that it's you humans who took the initiative to participate. We didn't force you to participate." As the Saint Martial God spoke, another beginner martial artist appeared in the void. He was incomparably old and said slowly, "Fang Ping, you humans and I beginner martial artists are one. The human world is the origin of beginner martial artists. The cat hid in the human world and harbored evil intentions. It's not easy for you humans to survive now. Do you have to be enemies with us beginner martial artists?" The old man said slowly, "In the past, the 9 emperors created the immortal source and extracted the human world's Tao. They even wanted to strip the human world of everything. They wanted the human world to destroy martial arts and the origin of beginner martial artists completely. It was a few powerhouses from the beginner martial lineage who appeared and interfered with everything. In the end, the human world is what it is now. The human race is not destroyed because of beginner martial artists. Now, you're enemies with beginner martial artists." As soon as he said this, in the crowd, said coldly, "Why do you have to lie to yourself?" The beginner martial lineage was deeply involved in the Immortal Source project. The human world destroyed martial arts, destroyed the origin. The old man said lightly, "If the origin was destroyed, why is everyone in the human world walking the origin instead of beginner martial artists? You only heard some things back then. As the emperor of the origin, the spirit emperor naturally wouldn't reveal everything. They only targeted the beginner martial artists in the human world. They didn't dare to let the beginner martial artists become emperors. They were afraid that the beginner martial artists would become emperors. That's why the Immortal Source was created. I don't know." "You think you know?" Lindsay said in a low voice. She looked at Fang Ping and shouted, "Fang Ping, don't be disturbed by them. I'm not asking you to participate in this. I just want to tell you that the cat, and I don't have the heart to plot against you humans." Fang Ping smiled. He raised his hand and said, "Calm down, everyone. I'm not a child. I'll believe whatever you say. I'm already 21 years old. I'm an adult. I have the ability to think for myself. The surroundings fell silent. Fong Ping chuckled. Since everyone is so easy to talk to, how about this? Let's not fight. Let's pretend that nothing happened. Senior Lindsay is my friend. Give me some face. Let's all disperse and live our lives peacefully. There's no need to fight to the death, right? The sacred martial god laughed. Fong Ping, you killed Mad Blade, and the rest. Are you going to pretend that nothing happened? Fong Ping's smile was brighter than his. He bared his teeth and said, "What should I do? How about I go look for the corpse fragments and give you some. You can bring them back and bury them properly. Hold a funeral, and I'll mourn for them?" Rumble! The void exploded. A beam of vitality light, unbelievably powerful, pierced through the void. The sacred martial god's expression was cold. His tone was icy. "Brothers, 5 great saints have fallen. If we let this go, I'm afraid there's no need for the beginner martial lineage to come out. Coming out today meant that 5 great saints had fallen. If there was no explanation, was there still a need for the beginner martial lineage to come out? The old man who appeared sighed softly. He said in a low voice, "Beginner martial doesn't want to make enemies everywhere. The humans are just going with the flow. Beginner martial has no enmity, but now King Human killed 5 great saints in a day." The old man paused for a moment. He sighed. If that's the case, before he could finish his sentence, Fong Ping's heavenly king seal and saint order appeared one after another, sealing the void. The heaven-confining bell also appeared instantly, covering the sky and the earth. "Old Zhang, Dragon Morph, Heavenly King, come in. 5 against 4. We'll stop when one side is dead." Fong Ping's roar reverberated in all directions. While the old man and the sacred martial god were dumbfounded, Fong Ping rushed into the battlefield instantly. He roared, "Kill! I don't care what excuse you have. If you attack the humans, you're an enemy. One side is dead. The other side will come out. Suppress. Lock." The void was sealed. The next moment, Old Zhang and Dragon Morph stepped in. Heavenly King also flashed in the void within the sealed area. In all directions, many powerhouses bared their teeth again. Lunatic. The beginner martial lineage had encountered this lunatic. That was 8 lifetimes of bad luck. The sacred martial god. And the others did not say that they would not stop until one side was dead. This lunatic sealed the void the moment he arrived. He had made up his mind that one side must die. How ruthless was he? Forget about the onlookers. At this moment, at the edge of the battlefield, everyone was grimacing in pain, speechless. "I'm also locked here. What does that mean? I'm just watching the show." The great battle was about to begin. Lindsay was also dumbfounded. So straightforward that she did not know what to say. Chapter 12:27. Fong Ping sealed the void. At this moment, the sacred martial god and the others' expressions changed drastically. "Kill Fong Ping." The sacred martial god shouted coldly and threw a punch at Fong Ping. This was Fong Ping's first time fighting with a beginner martial god. He wanted to test the waters, so he threw a punch too. Rumble! A loud explosion was heard. Crack! Fong Ping flew backward dozens of meters, his right arm broken. His expression turned solemn. Defeated. This was the first time he collided with someone physically. His opponent did not defeat him with overwhelming strength, but with similar strength. His physique had completely defeated him, shattering his bones. Fong Ping's golden body, 9th refinement, was not weak. However, he relied on the amplification of the origin. His opponent relied on real physique. With one move, his bones were broken. For example, Fong Ping and the sacred martial god were like peaches that weighed one caddy. They looked big, but had a lot of water. The other was a stone that weighed one caddy. It looked insignificant, as heavy as the peach. It would not be difficult to crush Fong Ping. This was the difference between them. This was why beginner martial artists could defeat origin martial artists of the same rank. The sacred martial god looked cold, not surprised. Outside, King Subduer's voice sounded ethereal. Kid, fighting with beginner martial artists is not like this. If you want to compete in physique, what's the point of walking the origin path? Heavenly King Jun pointed out, beginner martial artists walk the path of the physical body, so their mental strength won't be too strong. You can use mental strength to suppress them, or origin to suppress them. Although they don't have origin, origin is a kind of power, so naturally you can suppress them. If you walk the path of mentality, use your physique to suppress them. Their physique won't be too strong. Beginner martial artists who are strong in all aspects have mostly broken through 8. Origin is not completely useless. If that was the case, how could it have become the mainstream great Tao for the past 30,000 years? Don't always think that origin power is external. External power is also something that you have cultivated yourself. Don't easily deny an ultimate great Tao. As he spoke, Zhang Tao flashed and appeared in front of Fong Ping. He also threw a punch, fighting with the sacred martial god. On Zhang Tao's fist, golden light flashed. At the same time, origin energy erupted, and his fist trembled slightly. When the Saint Martial God attacked, there was also an explosion, and both of them retreated dozens of meters. Zhang Tao's fist was still trembling. The void around his fist shattered, but the power was leaking out. This was him diverting the force. Zhang Tao also smiled and said, "Kid, learn a little. You're still too inexperienced. Other than overwhelming strength, you might not be able to beat anyone with the same combat strength. Only by fighting can you win. If it really depends on strength, then it's meaningless." At this moment, no one else was in a hurry to make a move. Heavenly King Garrison and Dragon Morph were holding the line, while Fong Ping watched the battle with furrowed brows. Was healing her wounds quickly, so she did not participate. The remaining 3 beginner martial artists did not speak. The sacred martial god didn't say anything. He estimated the strength of the human clan's experts, which would be of great help in the upcoming battle, whether it was a fight to the death or something else. If the human race was not good at fighting, then there was nothing to worry about. Fong Ping's strength was not weak. He could feel it. However, Fong Ping's strength was scattered quite a bit. If they were to really fight, he was not afraid of Fong Ping, and he was also confident that he could kill Fong Ping. However, now that he was facing Zhang Tao, he was a little more serious. Zhang Tao, Heavenly King Garrison, and Old Man Li rarely taught Fong Ping anything in private. However, in battle, they would teach Fong Ping some things. At this moment, Zhang Tao was teaching Fong Ping. Beginner martial artists still have limitations. For example, this person has a strong physique, but because his physique is too strong, his mentality is weak, and he doesn't have good control over his body, so his movements are a little slow. Have you noticed? As Zhang Tao spoke, his figure flickered. The martial god's fist tore through the void and brushed past his head. Zhang Tao's body twisted as he hung upside down. He kicked the martial god's back from below, causing the martial god to stagger. The sacred martial god did not even turn his head. He punched downward at an extremely fast speed. However, Zhang Tao had already flashed behind him. His mentality exploded, condensed into a point, and instantly pierced toward the sacred martial god's head. The sacred martial god's head tilted slightly, but Zhang Tao's mentality turned and quickly attacked the sacred martial god's heart. Beginner martial artists, when it comes to the physique, the head is too hard. Don't fight it head on. If you insist on breaking his head, then there's no need. Don't go to a dead end, for example, stabbing his heart. Before Zhang Tao could finish his sentence, the sacred martial god's flesh suddenly grew 2 arms from his back and lashed out with his fists in Zhang Tao's direction. The Tao of the physique was also ever-changing. The sacred martial god's physique had been cultivated to the state of perfection. Zhang Tao, on the other hand, was not flustered. We, the neo-martial artists, are considered to be moderate and not too biased. Perhaps we don't have as many techniques as the dedicated martial artists, but we definitely have a lot. We can handle all kinds of situations. Seal. Zhang Tao shouted softly. The Book of Great Tao appeared again. He did not intend to trap the sacred martial god, but turned it into a shield blocking in front of him. The next moment, in front of Zhang Tao, suddenly a large number of bookshelves. The bookshelves in his origin world. At this moment, Zhang Tao was like an old pedant standing among the bookshelves. He laughed and said, "Neo-martial artists are not simply boorish. I told you long ago that the neo-martial artists are all cultured people. Don't be illiterate. Watch how I beat up a coward." In the blink of an eye, the bookshelves began to spin crazily, surrounding the sacred martial god. The sacred martial god shouted softly and smashed a row of bookshelves beside him with a punch. The next moment, he punched downward. Zhang Tao's chi movement. As the punch landed, Zhang Tao, who was below, suddenly collapsed. Spiritual body. Above, Zhang Tao's real body appeared. He held a bamboo whip and lashed downward. With a bang, the sacred martial god's head exploded with a dazzling light, but a bloody mark was still left on his head. In between his long hair, there was a bloody mark as if his head had been cut in half. It was somewhat comical. The sacred martial god's face was ugly. He snorted coldly and attacked him again. Zhang Tao's voice was a little anxious. "Your physique is indeed very strong. It's very difficult to break it. Beginner martial artists dare to waste time with us. Origin martial artists, if they fight for too long, will run out of origin chi. This rarely happens, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Once it runs out, you're dead meat. However, beginner martial artists have their limits too. They need energy to replenish their vitality. Fong Ping, seal the void passageway so that the energy won't seep in. No matter how much energy he has, it's difficult to maintain such a strong physique. If his vitality runs out, he won't be as strong as us." The sacred martial god said coldly, "Competing with beginner martial artists in terms of energy consumption, if you fight with beginner martial artists in your origin Tao. Unless you end the battle quickly, the one who will lose in the end will be your origin Tao." At their level, their strength was too strong. Just by breathing, they could absorb energy from the void to replenish their consumption. Origin chi was actually much harder to replenish. "You make it sound like it's true." Zhang Tao appeared and disappeared mysteriously. He laughed. "Don't listen to him. What they need is energy in reality. We have the ability to seal it. What we need is origin chi. They can't enter origin, so they can't seal it. In the end, we can more or less replenish it. They can't replenish it at all. That's why we're not afraid of them in a battle of attrition." Fong Ping nodded repeatedly. In the end, he said impatiently, "It's a little troublesome. Just crush them with one punch. Is there a need to go through so much trouble?" Zhang Tao's golden body was almost blown up by the sacred martial god's punch because he was out of breath. At this moment, he dodged hurriedly, scolding, "Can you King crush everyone all the time? You only know how to crush them. I taught you the real thing, but you don't know how to cherish it. Fang Ping laughed. I know all about this. I just prefer a crushing battle. Besides, it's not like I don't know anything. This guy's flesh is very hard to destroy. It feels like he has forged jade bones. Old Zhang, if you use tremor force, wouldn't the effect be better? Are their internal organs made of jade too? Zhang Tao was gloomy. I didn't even break his golden body. How would I know? Fang Ping continued. Oh, right. In their path of physical cultivation, if their golden body is damaged, it will affect their combat strength. The impact is not small. Old Zhang, you can try self-destructing your golden body. If you blow up his golden body, even if the injury is a little more serious, we can recover. It won't affect our combat strength too much. Rumble, the sacred martial god, was stunned. Everyone else was stunned. Old Zhang had really self-destructed his own golden body. With a rumble, the flesh and blood of the sacred martial god's arms were completely gone. His jade-like bones were exposed, and cracks appeared on his bones. A powerhouse close to breaking 7 had self-destructed his golden body, but it did not injure him severely. This had already proved the power of jade bones. But his flesh was injured. As for Zhang Tao, his mentality was like a real person. In the next moment, a large amount of imperishable matter condensed into a golden body again. It was slightly weaker than before, but the impact on Zhang Tao's combat strength was limited. At this moment, Zhang Tao said, "What you said makes sense. I self-destructed my golden body 10 times. My golden body can be considered half-crippled. But my golden body isn't that strong to begin with. It's easier to recover. If it's him, I'm afraid I can blow him up until he's half-crippled. However, the imperishable matter consumes a lot. Of course, we don't lack it. The stronger his golden body is, the more troublesome it is to repair." Fang Ping, this is a good move. It seems like you're not really ignorant. Zhang Tao still approved of Fang Ping's method. He tried it himself and blew up the sacred martial god's arms until they were half-crippled. Luan, Long Huan, and the other 3 beginner martial artists were dumbfounded by this scene. Fang Ping's expression was matter-of-fact. Heavenly King Zhen was not surprised. They were all lunatics. The old lunatic met the young lunatic. If the young lunatic dared to say it, the old lunatic dared to do it. The sacred martial god's expression changed this time. He had encountered a difficult character, really difficult. Even if it was the origin lineage, it did not mean that he would be fine after self-destructing his golden body. The pain was secondary. If this continued, the golden body would become weaker and weaker. Recovering it was not a trivial matter. It might even consume and reduce his lifespan. It was not just him. At this moment, the other 2 beginner martial gods appeared. Near the old man who appeared earlier, 2 somewhat illusory figures appeared, a little translucent. This was not a mentality body, but a real body. However, the other party cultivated mentality, which had already caused some changes to his flesh. Both of their faces were a little pale. It was not because their expressions changed, but because they had always been like this. At this moment, all 3 of their expressions changed for a while. Human powerhouses were very difficult to deal with. Zhang Tao and Fang Ping were too young. Fang Ping was fine. When he fought, he looked more reckless. He probably did not have as much experience as they did. However, Zhang Tao was an elite who had been through thousands of battles. He was extremely experienced. When it was time to be ruthless, he would not be soft-hearted. His decisiveness was shocking. The golden body exploded without the slightest hesitation. At this moment, Zhang Tao was not idle. Countless bookshelves rotated at high speed. Zhang Tao's body became illusory, able to appear anywhere in an instant. This was his materialization. where the materialization was, he would be. Zhang Tao appeared and disappeared like a ghost. Almost in the blink of an eye, he and the sacred martial god had exchanged tens of thousands of blows. Bang! With a loud bang, all the bookshelves disappeared. Zhang Tao's face was pale. He took a few steps back and broke the void. On the other hand, the sacred martial god's golden body was riddled with wounds. His vitality had already begun to slip. This scene made even some of the powerhouses who were watching the battle in secret frown. The sacred martial god did not break 7, but the difference was not big. Speaking of which, his vitality was definitely about 8 million calories. It was very powerful, coupled with the boxing gloves that he had refined for a lifetime. A break 7 origin martial artist might not have much of an advantage when fighting with him. This was referring to those who had just entered break 7. Zhang Tao's limit was not much different from the sacred martial gods. Both of their combat strength were about the same. However, an origin martial artist could kill a beginner martial artist. It was shocking. One could even say that he had the bearing of an emperor. This was because among the same rank, those who could suppress beginner martial artists with the same combat strength were all peerless geniuses. If they could kill a beginner martial artist of the same rank, it meant that there was hope for them to become an emperor. How old was Zhang Tao? Everyone was shocked. However, Zhang Tao was panting. Difficult, very difficult. Fang Ping, don't underestimate these guys. They are more difficult to deal with than King Sun and King General. They have rich combat experience and high control of their strength. If it wasn't for their lack of mentality, they might be able to unleash their full strength. He was panting. The sacred martial god's expression was already frighteningly ugly. The pride of a beginner martial artist was shattered today. Before this, even if he was not as good as a break 7 or 8, he did not think that he was inferior to others. Now, how old was his opponent? With combat strength that was about the same as his limit, he was actually able to cripple his body. This was too unexpected. A human powerhouse. Zhang Tao could not be bothered with him. He panted. I'll leave this guy to you. Try to exhaust him to death. I'll rest for a while. I'm getting old and can't hold on much longer. His words made the mouths of the people around him twitch. You're getting old? Who are you looking down on? You're not even 100 years old. Who are you looking down on? The sacred martial god's face was livid. Who did these people think he was? That he could fight and leave whenever he wanted? The next moment, the sacred martial god roared and charged toward Zhang Tao. At this time, Fang Ping appeared in a flash. He threw a punch and snorted. Be a good whetstone. Die after you're done. Die. Who's die? Fang Ping roared. Do you really think that I can't do anything to you? At this moment, a huge city appeared. Sun City. Fang Ping had not used Sun City for a long time. Previously, he could not use it because it was integrated with the origin. Now, however, his origin was stable. Like Zhang Tao, his origin could descend into the real world. The world descended. The origin erupted, suppressing the sacred martial god instantly. Fang Ping kicked away some of the apparitions that descended with him. It was not a few. It seemed like there was only one. It looked like a person and was blocking the way. Old Zhang. Beside him, old Zhang's face turned green. Is that me? Is that me? This kid. Is this how he treats me? Many people could see it. At this moment, their gazes moved slightly. They did not pay much attention to old Zhang being kicked. At this time, many people looked toward the Sun City that had descended. Their expressions changed slightly. Some powerhouses looked solemn. What a realistic city. Objects that were integrated with the origin world were usually very illusory. However, Fang Ping's Sun City looked like a real city. There were still people living in it. This was unbelievable. At this moment, the origin world descended. Fang Ping walked on the streets. Countless buildings were like real objects. With a casual wave of Fang Ping's hand, a tall building turned into a Changdao. Fang Ping swung the saber and hacked. Rumble, the sacred martial god, was also erupting. He was furious, but he was somewhat suppressed. He wanted to destroy the city and severely injure Fang Ping's origin. The fist and the Changdao collided. The Changdao shattered, and the fist vibrated. However, in the next moment, the sacred martial god had a headache. Countless buildings turned into tens of thousands of Changdao, hacking toward him. He had already been exhausted by Zhang Tao. At this moment, he was a little overwhelmed. At this time, a beginner martial artist whose body was slightly illusory moved. He was a mentality powerhouse. It was much easier for him to deal with Fang Ping's origin world. Mentality erupted instantly, engulfing heaven and earth as if to destroy this city. Flames, glaciers, floods. At this moment, mentality seemed to transform into countless scenes of natural disasters, engulfing the city. At this moment, let out a clear cry. Cat Palace descended, suppressing the void. Her figure moved and appeared in front of him. She said coldly, "Trying to bully me with numbers?" The illusory man's expression changed slightly. Was very strong. Although she was not at Breakthrough 7 with Cat Palace in hand, she was not weaker than a Breakthrough 7 powerhouse. Previously, the four of them surrounded her because they were worried that she would risk her life. They did not dare to force her to the end. Instead, they slowly exhausted her and weakened her. Had consumed a lot of energy, but now she would not be any weaker than him. Obviously, he could not help the sacred martial god. At this moment, Fang Ping suddenly said, "I almost understand. All right, let's not waste any more time. Old Devil Li, I'll leave the remaining two to you. Senior that one is yours. Dragon Transformation Heavenly Emperor, Old Zhang, come together and kill this guy." Everyone was stunned. Was this a little too straightforward? Fang Ping was slightly impatient. He shouted, "Hurry up! It's chaotic. Do you want to join in? If you kill him, I'll give you half of the jade bones." Many people were watching the show in the dark. Is he really going to fight to the end? If you go all out and kill one, the remaining three will be much easier to kill. Only a fool would fight one-on-one. If he fought one-on-one with the sacred martial god, even if Fang Ping could kill him and exhaust him to death, his own Tao would probably collapse completely. When that time came, what was the point of fighting? It was better to concentrate their advantage now. If the three great heavenly kings and chaotic joined forces, the four of them could kill the sacred martial god together. When the sacred martial god heard that, he could not help but yell angrily, "Shameless idiot! The four of you ganged up on Senior why don't you call yourself shameless?" Fang Ping said angrily, "Are you all crazy? Ganging up on you is shameless. Ganging up on us is justice. Double-labeled dog, I'll beat you to death. Go, what are you still watching for?" Fang Ping roared. Zhang Tao was already charging toward him. Dragon Transformation hesitated for a moment. He also returned to his true form in an instant and charged toward him. The old man and the other were about to attack when Heavenly King Garrison's voice sounded in their ears. He sighed. "Earth Cypress, Huan, both of you should rest for a while." The old man was called Earth Cypress, and the other was called Huan. At this moment, both of them looked at Heavenly King Garrison. After looking for a while, the old man suddenly said, "It's you." The powerhouses of the origin lineage might not all know Li Zhan, but there were not many gods of the beginner lineage who did not know him. The old man's gaze changed. He said coldly, "You want to deal with us? Is the beginner lineage really going to disband?" Juan's voice was also faint. "Garrison, you're not dead yet. Since you're not dead, why are you helping the humans?" Heavenly King Garrison sighed. "Humans are all humans, aren't they? The beginner lineage is human. The origin is human. We're all humans. It's not easy for both of you to live until today. Why do you have to get involved? Why do you have to get involved?" The old man said angrily, "The origin wants to destroy the beginner lineage. Do you see that, Jun? Do you see that?" Now, there are still a few people in the three realms who walk the path of beginner martial. The roots of the beginner lineage have been broken. When all of us old guys die, the beginner lineage will disappear completely. Indignation, anger, resentment. The old man was indignant. He roared, "Do you see that? Are beginner martial really useless? Why do they have to do this to beginner martial? Are we wrong? Our orthodoxy is going to be completely destroyed. Even within the orthodoxy, the origin is seeping in. The path of beginner martial is going to be extinct. The 9 emperors forced us. They want to destroy the beginner lineage. No matter how strong the origin is, it can't replace the beginner lineage. You traitor." Heavenly King Garrison had a complicated expression as he muttered, "Natural selection, *T. The old man roared, "If not for the 9 emperors destroying the beginner lineage and the heavenly court suppressing the beginner lineage, how could this happen? No one knows how the beginner lineage passes on the Tao. Tell me, is there really nothing good about the beginner lineage? When we created the martial path, the human race rose. We could fight heaven and earth, defy the heavens, and change fate. Who remembers our achievements? Are we wrong? Pass on the Tao. Why can't we pass on the Tao? The origin is so domineering. As long as the origin is not destroyed, the beginner lineage will completely disappear in the long river of history. Tell me, who is wrong? The battle of the great Tao. The battle of the great Tao that had lasted for 30,000 years was mentioned again today. Heavenly King Garrison had a complicated expression. Origin, beginner martial. At this moment, Juan suddenly laughed. Earth Cypress, forget it. He has already walked on the origin. How can he still remember the beginner lineage? Since he wants to stop us, then kill him. A wave of mentality swept over. One world after another descended. It was not the origin world, but an illusory mentality world. It charged toward Heavenly King Garrison instantly. Earth Cypress was no longer sad and angry. He stretched out his hand and waved. The sea surface solidified. Endless seawater turned into walls, mountains, and boulders, blasting toward Heavenly King Garrison. Heavenly King Garrison's vitality erupted. His vitality was so powerful that countless worlds shattered and mountains were obliterated. Why bother? Heavenly King Garrison shook his head and kicked out. A boulder that was the size of a city was completely crushed by his kick, evaporating and disappearing. On the other side, the 3 powerhouses besieged sacred martial god. Fang Ping roared, "Chaos, cowardly guy, are you really not going to attack? This guy can't last for 3 minutes. If you don't attack, don't regret not giving you a chance. His thigh is much more useful than King Qian's." Chaos's figure appeared and looked around. He glanced at Heavenly King Garrison and said casually, "I think that old thing's thigh is more useful." Heavenly King Garrison was fighting 1 against 2. At this moment, when he heard this, he suddenly wanted to fight 1 against 3. Chapter 1228. Although the chaotic Heavenly King did not attack, Fang Ping and the other 2 had completely suppressed the sacred martial god. Fang Ping did not care about him anymore. He growled, "You guys suppress him. I'll fight him with my body and polish it. My body exploded earlier, and I'm not used to it. Coincidentally, I met him. You're almost done. Let me have it. My body has some flaws too. Kid, don't kill me. Old Zhang added. His body had just exploded. He was not used to the newly forged body. This was not good. It would greatly affect his control of power. Dragon transformation was silent. Dragon transformation didn't make a sound. These two fellows weren't human. They never spoke human words. At their level, they would have some scruples. These two had no scruples at all. Every time they heard it, it was infuriating. He was considered one of them. Even he felt depressed when he heard it, not to mention the enemy. The sacred martial god's face was livid. His attacks became fiercer. Zhang Tao and the other two suppressed him. Fang Ping stepped forward to fight alone. In less than 30 seconds, the other party flew out. His chest was pierced. He fell outside, panting. My body is too strong. It's like forging iron. I'll rest. Old Zhang, you do it. As Fang Ping said that, his mentality erupted, his origin suppressed. Old Zhang rushed forward quickly. Both of them decided to rely on him to polish their bodies. That was also fighting with their bodies and adding some origin. After a while, Old Zhang flew out. He was also riddled with wounds. However, he said contentedly, "Continue." All right. Silence reigned in all directions. Some people frowned. They even felt a little sad. The sacred martial god was surrounded by the three of them. He had no choice but to become their whetstone. Now that he was being worn down, his power was gradually weakening. It made them sad. This was a beginner martial god. However, he was also in danger now. He could die at any time. Far away, Hong Yu stood on the surface of the sea. Behind him, a few saints arrived one after another. Including the two kings, there were a total of 11 saint-level powerhouses. They were also extremely powerful. Sky Plant King said softly, "Sir, the 4 beginner martial gods are attacking, but they are outnumbered. If we help, maybe the 4 beginner martial powerhouses will." Hong Yu raised his hand and stopped him. "Attack. The humans will not let this go." Yes, once upon a time, the weak humans were feared by all parties. If they made a move, the human race would not let this matter rest. Tenchi said in a low voice, "Fang Ping and the others have offended too many people. If someone makes a move, perhaps, sir, perhaps all of them would take action, and the scene from before would repeat itself, teaming up to kill the human race." Hong Yu looked around. After a while, he retracted his gaze and said nothing. The Saint Martial God wouldn't die so easily. The Chu Wu lineage was very strong, but it wasn't as if they couldn't put up a fight. As for Heavenly King, subduing, it was hard to say if he would go all out. Sacred Martial. At this moment, the Sacred Martial God's aura had weakened, and his chi and blood were weak. The old man called Tu Bai had a sorrowful expression as he shouted. Then he suddenly smiled and said, "This world doesn't allow me to become a beginner. Then I'll reforge the world." As soon as he finished speaking, a loud shout resounded in all directions. "Let's join forces." The sacred martial god didn't say anything, but the other two started to move. Of the 2 experts who specialized in mental energy, one of them was currently dealing with Z, but at this moment, he no longer cared about her. With an explosive roar, his figure disappeared, and in the blink of an eye, a cloud of mist rose up. Split the heavens. Rumble. The mist rose, and the void shattered. It was like chaos, the beginning of the world. On the other side, Huan also let out a low roar. Solidify the origin. The wind rose. The mist surged up, and the energy in the void surged toward them. 2. Bai also let out a low roar. Earth appears. Below, All the seawater turned into a piece of solidified land. Fang Ping and the others did not understand what was going on. However, the sacred martial god looked sorrowful, smiling bitterly. Brothers, thank you very much. At this moment, the sacred martial god's aura grew stronger, but he did not continue to attack. He kept retreating as if waiting for something. At this moment, Heavenly King Subduing looked conflicted. On the other hand, Er's expression changed drastically. Heavenly Emperor Dragon Transformation roared hurriedly, "Quick, break this world! They want to seal the origin and reforge the world." What? Zhang Tao was stunned. Dragon Transformation roared, "They want to transform this world into a beginner world, a land without the origin. Quick, break the seal. Otherwise, the sacred martial god's flesh is invincible, and we'll all die." Having said that, he roared, "Heavenly King Subduing." At this moment, Li Zhen's expression was complicated. He said softly, "Why don't we forget it?" He did not say the reason. The three great beginner gods used their bodies to transform into heaven and earth, using their own strength to cut the origin universe. Once he made a move to break this world, the three great beginner gods might all die. In that case, four divinities would fall today. Tu Bai and the other two were already fighting with all their might. The three of them had transformed heaven and earth. If the sacred martial god, who had an invincible body, attacked again, he would be an invincible existence. But if that happened, heaven and earth would be broken, and the three of them might all die. This time, the Heavenly King Subduing really hesitated. He knew these few people. Some were first-generation beginners, and some were second-generation beginners. Tu Bai was an existence who created a Tao. He was the leader of the ancient humans. Yes, the leader of the ancient humans. Now, these people did not want the sacred martial god to die. They were fighting with their lives. They were also betting on a slim chance of survival, betting that Li Zhen would not make a move to break this world. The three powerhouses were betting with their lives. If this world was broken, the four great gods might all die here. But if they did not break this world, once the origin universe was really isolated, who could resist the sacred martial god with a physical vitality of 8 million calories? At this moment, Zhang Tao and the others understood. Zhang Tao punched the sky. The sky trembled, but it did not break. Fang Ping also roared angrily and slashed. Heaven and earth trembled again, but it still did not break. The three powerhouses exhausted everything to seal heaven and earth. How could it be broken so easily? If it was broken, the three powerhouses might all die. Fang Ping's expression changed. He looked at the Heavenly King Subduing and shouted angrily, Lindsay, come quickly and kill the sacred martial god. I want to see if heaven and earth will be sealed first, or the sacred martial god will die first." Drove the cat palace and descended quickly. One also said with an innocent look, "Why are you guys sealing the origin? I have no choice. If it's really sealed, won't it be dangerous? Then I'll have to steal your thigh." As soon as he said that, this fellow was extremely fast, as if he had been waiting for a long time to kill and steal their thigh. "Huan Xing, hurry up." Tu Bai's voice was extremely urgent. Hurry up and cut off this world from the origin universe and return to the beginner world. The era without the origin." At this moment, heaven and earth roared again. Vaguely, mountains and rivers appeared in this small world, and the shadows of ancient beasts appeared. The three powerhouses were speeding up this process. It had nothing to do with time. What was sealed was space. Even the origin universe was not completely untraceable. Previously, Shurpa had broken the origin in the heavenly tomb, and the fake Tao had penetrated the origin universe. That universe might really exist. It was a gray haze. The battlefield seemed to be faintly discernible, about to disappear from this world. At this moment, someone appeared. The God creation envoy's avatar appeared and looked over, frowning. Old Man Lee's face was full of anxiety as he asked hurriedly, "What's going on?" He felt that it was a little familiar. This was somewhat similar to when his physical body entered the origin universe. Beginner's ultimate skill. The God creation envoy frowned and said, "Old Man Lee is hesitating. It's fine to kill a beginner powerhouse, but 4 beginner gods are fighting together. If they are not careful, all 4 of them will die. Now, I'm afraid he's hesitating. What? It's to seal the origin universe." The God creation envoy said in a deep voice, "The origin does not really exist." Back then, in the Battle of Myriad Dao, although Chu Wu was defeated, he did not know nothing about the origin, who was not a proud son of heaven, who had opened up a path. If he paid a huge price, he could sever the connection with the origin. Of course, it was also extremely dangerous. If he was unlucky, he would suffer a backlash and die. This is a choice made at the risk of death. Once it succeeds, the origin Tao will be suppressed in an instant and the origin amplification will disappear. Old Man Lee's expression changed. The God creation envoy looked over and said in a deep voice, "Don't be anxious. Nothing might happen to Fong Ping and the others. 4 of them, 3 of them sealing heaven, and earth might not be able to stop them. Once it's broken, sigh." The God creation envoy shook his head and said, "Kid, Old Man Lee was a little speechless. What did he call me? I'm not used to it." The God creation envoy ignored him and continued, "Some things are very complicated. Some people might be your enemies, but they are inextricably linked to us." Old Man Lee's hesitation did not mean that he chose Chu Wu, but you have to understand that some of these people were also his best friends back then. The God creation envoy's eyes were also complicated. It's not just him. Sacred Marshal and I are not familiar with each other. Earth Cypress, this old man is actually also familiar with it. He sighed again. The God creation envoy shook his head. They had lived for too long. Sometimes they were different from the human race powerhouses. The powerhouses of the human race could firmly believe that they were all enemies. But could they really do it? However, he knew that the chances of something happening to the human race were not high. No matter how hard it was for the King of Suppression to choose, he would not watch Fong Ping and the others die. At the crucial moment, he would probably still make a move. As for how far he would go, it was hard to say. The God creation envoy was not thinking about this, but after today, if Fong Ping, Zhang Tao, and the others did not understand, something might happen to the human race. The King of Suppression hesitated at this juncture. If the 2 of them could not figure it out, they might part ways. However, the King of Suppression also had his difficulties. Zhang Tao might still be able to understand, but with Fong Ping's personality, he could not tolerate any sand. It was really hard to say. At this time, Old Man Lee said anxiously, "Senior," the God creation envoy raised his hand and interrupted, "This old man is only an avatar. It's useless to make a move now. Don't worry. If the 3 beginner martial gods want to seal many heavenly kings, they might fail very soon and suffer a backlash." While they were talking, in Fong Ping's source world, the Emperor's path was turbulent. It was as if there was an invisible force blocking the origin at the end of the Great Tao. It was not the method of blocking the path from the origin like the sky-sealing lineage, but at the end of the path. It was not only him, but the others as well. At this time, the King of Suppression spoke again. Give up. Disperse. Fong Ping, how about we stop this time? 5 saints have been killed, and this matter has been settled. Fong Ping did not say a word. While the emperor's path was not sealed, he gritted his teeth and attacked the sacred martial god crazily. Zhang Tao was the same. He went all out, his murderous aura shaking the sky. At this time, Luan Na also took the opportunity to kill the other party crazily. Not only that, but he also smiled and said, "Don't worry about the great Tao of origin. It's fine. Let's kill him first." These few newbie idiots also sealed that old fart in this world. They want to break the origin. All of them. If they can't break that guy, it's all in vain. They can't seal us. Later, these three fellows will be killed by the recoil of his origin. As soon as he said this, the king of suppression laughed bitterly and did not say a word. Tu Bai and the other two, on the other hand, shook violently. Heaven and earth shook. They really somewhat forgot. Yes, because the king of suppression did not really attack, they subconsciously overlooked some things. If they wanted to break the connection of their origin, they would have to break the entire small heaven and earth. But the king of suppression was here. Could they break the king of suppression? Fang Ping and the others were also stunned for a moment. Was that so? The king of suppression spoke again. How about we let this matter go? Fang Ping gritted his teeth and snorted. They want to kill the cat. How much has the cat helped the humans? If that's the case, then I won't let it go. If someone wants to kill you today, I won't let it go. It's not because the cat is on good terms with me that I have to kill all its enemies. It's because the human race can go this far, because we don't abandon anyone. The cat is the human race's benefactor, so we have to help. I don't care if you don't treat yourself as a human. If you are in danger in the future, I, Fang Ping, will not stand idly by and watch, no matter how strong the enemy is. If you let it go, will they give up on killing the cat? They think that the cat is the foundation of the origin. I don't care about your fight for the Tao. Whoever kills the cat, I'll kill them. The king of suppression sighed again. Some things were still fundamental disputes. The human race would not give up on the cat. Similarly, the Chu Wu lineage that was forced to this point would not give up on the idea of killing the cat. Such a contradiction could not be reconciled. And now, Chu Wu was probably going to be defeated. With him here, the three Chu Wu gods could not seal it. He firmly believed this. They could seal him, but the three of them could not. If they could not seal the origin, the three of them would still suffer from the backlash. Facing the siege of so many powerhouses, the sacred martial god would not be able to hold on for long. Defeat was certain. The king of suppression did not really care about killing the sacred martial god. He was not very familiar with him. Who cares? But Tu Bai and the others were old acquaintances. Thinking of this, the king of suppression felt a little helpless. Forget it. It was hard to persuade them. Fang Ping and the others would not give up so easily. In the next moment, the king of suppression's origin erupted, and the world trembled. The small world that was gradually taking shape rumbled, and the world trembled. Puffed. The three of them appeared, and the sky fell, and the earth cracked. Tu Bai and the other two were pale. One by one, they returned to their true forms and looked at the king of suppression with grief and indignation. The king of suppression felt that he was still very innocent. He spread his hands and said, "Don't look at me like that. I didn't ask you to seal me. You just had to seal me here. What else can I do?" As he said that, the king of suppression blasted out a punch. The void shattered and turned into a cage. The three of them were instantly trapped. They suffered from the backlash and were seriously injured. At this moment, they were suddenly trapped. The king of suppression roared, "Go!" Rumble! The cage-like void world, carrying the three of them, broke through the world and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. The world was quiet. The king of suppression coughed dryly and said, Don't look at me. That's it. I've exiled the three of them into the void. I don't know which heavens they have gone to. They won't be coming back anytime soon. As he said that, he looked at the sacred martial god, extremely miserable and also extremely indignant. The king of suppression said again, "We're not familiar with each other, and you asked someone to attack Li Changsheng first. Don't blame me if you kill him. That's not right. I'm not familiar with you. Whether you die or not has nothing to do with me." Then he said again, "Fong Ping, kid, don't blame me for letting the three of them go. If I didn't let them go, you might not be able to kill them. There are still some beginner antiques alive. There are some at the heavenly cemetery, and there are also in this misery. If you really kill the four beginner immortals, then you'll completely fall out with them. The Origin has enough enemies, and it's enough. The sacred martial god attacked first. If he killed them, then he killed them. No one can say anything about it. I'm not someone to be trifled with. But the other three surrounded and killed Lin Zi. They're people from the Spirit Emperor's side. This is considered a continuation of the battle between the Origin and beginner immortals. Humans shouldn't get involved." The king of suppression said a few words. Then he looked around and said loudly, "The humans are just seeking survival. At this point, it's not that easy to destroy them. Everyone should be more or less done. If you insist on starting a war, then you're not afraid of anyone. The sacred martial god is probably dead. For the sake of the past, I'll let two by, and the other two go. Everyone take a step back. Those who should disperse, disperse." At this moment, the void trembled, heaven and earth split open, and a human face appeared in the sky. The king of suppression, the sacred martial god, can't die. This matter ends here. It's time to stop. The king of suppression looked up at the sky, a little helpless. "I say, there's no need for you guys to get involved just because someone dies, right? Isn't the sacred martial god's master, fire god, dead? He has no background or backing. If he's killed, then he's killed. Why are you guys getting involved? The king of suppression is a beginner immortal." The king of suppression dug his ears, feeling even more helpless. "Can you give me some face?" "I've already lost a lot of face. Back then, I was considered a respected figure in the sacred martial god lineage. I've been in the human race for 8,000 years. I've watched these kids grow up. That's not right. I've watched their ancestors grow up. I can be considered their ancestor." The king of suppression nagged. "Look, after letting the three of them go, they're all unhappy. If I let the sacred martial god go, wouldn't I be forcing them to fall out with me? It's not easy to be an ancestor to this extent." As he spoke, the sacred martial god grunted. Crack! One of his thighs was directly torn apart by Luan's hundreds of punches. Luan hurriedly retracted his thighs, beaming with joy as if he didn't see the face in the sky. The sacred martial god also grabbed his arm and broke it with a crack. Luan didn't care too much. His golden body was still golden, but jade bones were not easy to recover. The sacred martial god had almost lost this leg forever. If he wanted to forge a jade bone thigh again, he didn't know how much of a price he would have to pay. In the sky, the illusory face showed a hint of anger and growled, "Suppression! Since you won't stop him, I'll stop him myself." The king of suppression touched his chin. His action was somewhat similar to old Zhang's. He didn't know if he learned from old Zhang or old Zhang learned from him. It's not good for you to come personally, right? It's all the juniors playing around. How old are you? The king of suppression said, "Don't come. This place is very dangerous." Hong Kuan, Hong Yu, Sea Suppression, and Weapon Master have all broken through 8. Li Zhu, Palm Print, King Qian, and Heaven Chief have all broken through 7. If you come alone and get killed, It'll be troublesome. It's better for you to stay home." The world was shaking. Obviously, the face ignored him. He couldn't watch the sacred, martial god be killed just like that. Although there were many beginner martial gods, they weren't everywhere. Back then, too many of the myriad Tao powerhouses had died, and there weren't many left now. Over the years, 40 to 50 of the more than 70 main bloodlines had been destroyed. The sacred martial god inherited the bloodline of the fire god. This bloodline was also one of the leaders of the beginner martial gods. The fire god did not kill the cat because of a personal grudge. In the end, the fire god was killed. Because of the existence of the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors, no one helped, but the other bloodlines more or less owed him. In the past, they watched the fire god be killed. Now, if they watched the sacred martial god be killed, the beginner martial gods would really decline. At this moment, the sacred martial god couldn't hold on anymore. There were too many. Chaos at 7, and Zhang Tao at peak 6, Fang Ping and Dragon Transformation at 6, with so many people attacking him. How could he be a match? He was still holding on, because there was still hope. Someone was going to make a move among the leaders in the depths of misery. Back then, when the myriad Tao fought, the powerhouses who appeared were all beginner martial leaders. There weren't too many of them, but there were still quite a few. Many of them were killed by the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors. After that, some were trapped in the heavenly cemetery. However, there were still a few who were sleeping in the depths of misery. Today, a leader had been alarmed. This person was going to make a move. The void was torn apart. The sky split open, and a pitch-black passage appeared. A faraway continent of unknown location appeared on the opposite side of the passage. In the center of the continent, an old man with the same face as before slowly walked out of the continent, walking toward the passage. At this moment, Fang Ping turned back to take a look. With this look, he was slightly stunned for a moment. He was not looking at the old antique who wanted to intervene, but at someone behind the old antique who seemed to be familiar. In the depths of misery, on a continent, at this moment, the sky was torn apart. An old man walked in the air, wanting to go over there, to rescue. At this moment, there were many people floating in the air behind him. Each of them wore a look of respect. Each of them was extremely powerful. In the crowd, a tall and burly young man was also among them. At this moment, his mouth was wide open, a little sluggish. F***CK. I've already walked so far, but I can still see Fang Ping and the others. How many tens of thousands of miles of the void did I have to go through? Li Hansong's mouth was slightly open. Was he hallucinating? Also, that fellow Fang Ping. What kind of strength did he have? Why did he feel so powerful? And Li Hansong looked around, his eyes sorrowful. Could he leave? He was so scared. There were so many powerhouses in this place. He kept feeling like they had discovered his identity and would kill him at any time. Should he just crawl into the passage and run away? He really had the urge to escape. This place was too dangerous, especially the one who was walking toward the passage now. How powerful did he have to be? When he first came here, he did not know how long he had walked. He was chased by the demons all the way. Anyway, his speed was not slow. He flew for a long time before he came here. This person directly tore the void and tore it to Fang Ping's side. How powerful did he have to be? Just as he was thinking about this, at this moment, the heavenly king opposite him sighed and said, "They really don't give me any face. I was in a good mood today, but each and every one of you just had to provoke me. Who did I offend?" The heavenly king complained like a resentful woman. "Each and every one of you don't like me. I'm very innocent, okay?" The next moment, the heavenly king sighed again and said, "If you don't give me face, then I won't be polite. Old man, you're also my elder. I won't beat you to death today. At this moment between heaven and earth, almost everyone saw a fist. Yes, a fist appeared in everyone's mind. They did not see it, but they sensed it. The three realms seemed to be trembling. In the next moment, under Li Hansong's dazed gaze, the powerful beginner leader, who was stepping into the passage, was sent flying backward with a bang. Rumble! Below, the entire continent was disintegrating. Countless people were affected and instantly annihilated. Near Li Hansong, several powerhouses instantly erupted and roared. With all their might, they stabilized the continent and protected the disciples in all directions. Patriarch, quick, go check on the Patriarch. Below, a lake with a circumference of several hundred kilometers appeared. It was not a lake, but a sea. The old man flew backward and pierced through the continent. At this moment, the continent had been pierced directly through to the Forbidden Sea. This was because the old man had forcibly restrained all the energy fluctuations, which was why the entire continent had not been destroyed. At this moment, the powerhouses near Li Hansong all revealed shocked, anxious, and terrified expressions. So powerful! With one punch, he sent the Patriarch flying, destroyed the passage, and almost destroyed this continent that had existed since ancient times. Who was that person? Below, in the lake, the old man slowly floated up. Pooh! A mouthful of bright red blood sprayed out. The blood dripped into the sea, and the entire lake turned blood red. The old man looked at the broken passage and suddenly laughed self-deprecatingly. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared on the spot. The sacred marshal was dead, invincible. Damn it, they're not giving me face. At this moment, Heavenly King, subduing, cursed. He had already said to give them some face. It would be good for everyone. Why didn't they give me face? Why did they have to provoke me? Was there any meaning to it? Heavenly King, subduing, did not look at the surrounding martial artists. He could not be bothered to look. However, all the martial artists were looking at him. Even the despairing sacred martial god was looking at him. What kind of strength was this? He had sent a beginner leader flying with one punch. The beginner leaders were all supreme experts. Chapter 1229. The three realms fell silent. Everyone fell silent. Fang Ping and Zhang Tao also widened their eyes, looking at the old man not far away. Was he still human? Sending a junior martial artist leader flying with a single punch. Just how strong was this old thing? Fang Ping's teeth were sore. What was wrong with him? Back then, Heavenly King Garrison had a hard time fighting a catacombs. He was powerless against a few peak powerhouses. Now you're telling me that you can even fight an ultimate powerhouse. Are you kidding me? Heavenly King Garrison mumbled to himself. Seeing that Fang Ping and the rest were looking at him, he asked doubtfully, "Why are you all looking at me?" Dragon Transformation turned away hurriedly, not daring to look again. This old man was too strong. It was needless to say that he was an ultimate powerhouse. The key was how far he had gone on the path of breaking 8. He could not estimate this. Far away, Hong Yu frowned. Beside him, the saints were also dumbfounded. After a long while, someone said in a low voice, How strong is he?" Hong Yu frowned slightly. After a while, he said lightly he should still be breaking 8. "But I'm afraid he has improved a lot." The junior martial leader who was sent flying just now was Sky Arm God, who proved his Tao with his body. He did not prove his Tao with his entire body, but his arms had broken through the limit. Among those breaking 8, he was not considered the top. He could not compare to the other junior martial era leaders, but he was still a top powerhouse. Heavenly King Garrison might have broken through 2 doors. As Hong Yu spoke, his gaze changed. This old man had shown a lot of his strength earlier. He fought against Sea Guardian and King Qian alone. Sea Guardian had also broken through 8, but not long ago. The strength that Heavenly King Garrison had shown before was also very strong, but not to that extent. Now, he had sent Sky Arm flying with one punch. Although it was related to Sky Arm's carelessness, it was enough to prove that Heavenly King Garrison had reached the limit. Li Jun. At this moment, the other junior martial leaders also murmured. Strong. In a one-on-one fight, with everyone's current strength, no one could defeat him. No, maybe someone could. A weapon master at his peak. A cat palace chief at his peak. Both of them had killed ultimate powerhouses. In the last battle in the heavenly realm, the weapon master had unleashed all his strength and killed an ultimate powerhouse at the cost of his life. Cat Palace Chief Tian Chun had done the same. He had perished together with Fire God to be able to kill a supreme expert. This was the embodiment of strength. However, the two of them had not yet recovered to their peak, especially the weapon master, who had just recovered. If they really fought, he might not be a match for the Heavenly King suppression. If there was a ranking system for breaking through the 8 levels, the Weapon Master, Tian Chun, and Heavenly King subduing Heavenly King would probably be one level higher than the others. As for King Kuan and the others, although they had broken 8, they had yet to truly display their invincibility. If he was truly invincible, even one wouldn't dare to provoke him. Didn't they see the chaos now? They didn't even dare to look at Heavenly King Jun. Previously, he had wanted to break this old fellow's thigh, but now he didn't dare to look at him. He hoped that the Heavenly King Jun Wang would forget what he had said before. All was silent. The sacred martial god was also in despair. He was dead meat. At this time, Fong Ping chopped off his other leg with one slash. In the blink of an eye, he tore off both of his arms and snatched his boxing gloves. Zhang Tao and the others were waiting for Fong Ping to kill this person and announce their return. Fong Ping sent the half-crippled sacred martial god flying with a kick. Everyone was stunned. Fong Ping's expression was calm. He looked at the sacred martial god, whose limbs were broken in the void in the distance, and said coldly, "According to my past habits, I must kill all my enemies. But today, I'll spare your worthless life. It's not that I'm afraid of you. I'm giving your Chu Wu leader a way out. I'm giving Heavenly King a way out. Killing the 5 saints of the Saint Martial Continent is considered as collecting interest for your attack on the humans. Get lost now, or I'm afraid I won't be able to hold back and kill you right now." Fong Ping turned around and walked away. Zhang Tao raised his eyebrows slightly. Fong Ping said without turning his head, "Get lost. If you don't get lost and get killed by others, don't blame me for not giving face to the Chu Wu lineage. I won't deny killing people, but if some people want to frame me, don't think it'll be so easy. If the sacred martial god dies today, it has nothing to do with the humans. The humans won't even bother to deny killing a broken 6 beginner martial artist." In the distance, the sacred martial god's expression changed. He did not waste any more words. His limbs grew again, but they were no longer jade bones. Without another word, he tore the void and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Wan was eager to make a move, but he soon calmed down. The Heavenly King, Zhen Wang, was still there. Everyone was stunned again. Fong Ping did not kill the sacred martial god. In the dark void, Li Zhu frowned slightly, eager to make a move. He wanted to kill the sacred martial god, but in the end, he frowned and did not make a move. The Chu Wu leader might not have completely stopped paying attention to this place. It was not a good thing to make a move now. There were others who wanted to make a move, but after careful consideration, they gave up in the end. The Heavenly King Jun Wang looked at Fang Ping in surprise. This kid did not kill the sacred martial god. He thought this guy would not stop until he killed someone this time. For a moment, the heavenly king Zhen Wang was in a daze. This guy was giving face. That was not right. Why should he care if he gave face or not? The heavenly king Zhen Wang cursed in his heart. What a kid who sails with the wind. I just unleashed my strength. Are you scared, kid? Now, you know how to give face. Fang Ping, Zhang Tao caught up. He glanced at Fang Ping and suddenly laughed. You've matured. Don't praise me. Fang Ping curled his lips. I didn't kill him, not because of maturity. It's to let old Devil Lee continue to work for the humans, lest he becomes dissatisfied and runs to other camps. Also, I didn't plan to kill a broken 8 martial god. There's no need to provoke a broken 8 martial god now. As for the sacred martial god, he's a peak broken 6 guy. His jade bones were broken. It might take him 1 or 2 years to recover. 1 or 2 years. 1 or 2 years later, I can kill him easily. Also, those 3 guys looked like they were going to die together. Now that I've killed the sacred martial god. If those 3 guys haven't been sent away, I can kill them all. If they've been sent away, there's no need for me to kill one alone and leave 3 big problems. Fang Ping said this without holding back. The heavenly king, Zhen Wang, wanted to roll his eyes. Also, the humans are powerful. How would the sacred martial god dare to continue looking for trouble with us? Unless he's really tired of living. If he wants to find someone, who do you think he'll find? Fang Ping smiled. Senior Z. He's a descendant of Emperor Spirit, a good friend of the humans. But someone isn't. Not only is he not, but he's also a wanderer in the 3 realms. He's all alone, yet he dared to get involved in this kind of war and even tore someone else's leg. Old Zhang, if the sacred martial god wants revenge, will they look for us first or that person first? At the back, Luan looked around and finally looked at the leg he was holding in his hand. His face was blank. Are you talking about me? I think you're talking about me. Mother of asterisk Kerr, what do you mean? Old Zhang could not help but laugh. He continued, that's true. He's offended many people. King Kuan, King Qian, the sacred martial god clan, and the heavenly dog have also been offended by him. Strictly speaking, the humans aren't on good terms with him either. He attacked and killed Xang Mao back then. Now that you mention it, I understand. That guy is the kind of person everyone wants to beat up. He's also a sh*T stirrer. He doesn't have much strength. Although he's not bad at breaking 7, he's offended quite a few breaking 8. If the sacred martial god clan wants to vent their anger, they have to get rid of him first. Fang Ping smiled. That's why I let sacred martial go. If he's dead, then the sacred martial god clan will definitely be extremely hostile toward us. However, sacred martial god clan didn't die, so we've given them some face. They want to vent their anger, but can't find an outlet. Who do you think they can look for? That sh*T stirrer. Exactly. Fang Ping nodded. Old Zhang also kept nodding. It made sense. The 2 of them echoed each other, causing Wan's face to turn ashen. He could not help but curse. Are you 2 trying to scare me? Do you think I'm afraid of their revenge? Fang Ping ignored him. He looked at Heavenly King subduing and smiled. Senior Li, Heavenly King, subduing, raised his eyebrows slightly. Did I hear wrongly just now? He didn't call me Old Li? Does that sacred martial god clan leader have the confidence to kill the sh*T stirrer? Heavenly King, subduing thought for a moment, and said, of course he can kill him in a life and death battle. However, Wan can also run. He's quite good at escaping. Otherwise, he would have been killed by the heavenly dog back then. If the other heavenly king powerhouses from the sacred martial god clan attack together, can they kill him? Of course they can. Heavenly King, subduing, smiled. There's no need for more. There are 4 gods like that today. Seal the void. One won't be able to escape. If heavenly arm attacks, it shouldn't be difficult to kill him. The sacred martial god clan suffered a setback as soon as he came. If he kills the *T stirrer, can he establish his dominance? Heavenly King, subduing, smiled again. You're right. Although Heavenly Arm isn't my match, he's still a powerhouse. After suffering a setback today, I'm afraid everyone from the sacred martial god clan will be anxious. Killing a heavenly king who has broken 7 ranks and is a prodigy of the chaotic era, should be able to restore their confidence. Does that mean that the *T stirrer will definitely die? Heavenly King, subduing, nodded and smiled. More or less. He has nowhere to run. If he goes to the tomb of heaven, the heavenly dog, and the others will beat him to death. If he goes to the depths of the forbidden sea, that's Heavenly Arm's lair. If he goes to the catacombs, Hong Yu, Hong Kuan, and the others will probably tear him apart. If that's the case, there's indeed nowhere to run. However, if he finds a place to hide, he might be able to survive. Fang Ping smiled. Then let him hide. He's been hiding for thousands of years anyway. It doesn't matter if he hides. Enough. Luan could not help but growl. His cheeks were trembling. He snorted. Who dares to kill me? Do you think I'm weak? You want to rope me in? Dream on. Fang Ping smiled. Rope you in? Then there's no need. We don't know how many enemies there are. We don't want to cause trouble for us. Humph! You speak as if you don't have any enemies, Fang Ping interrupted. Of course we have a lot of enemies, but we have the Heavenly King. At least for now, no one dares to fight the Heavenly King to the death. What are we afraid of? Fang Ping turned around and looked at Luan. He grinned. Are you going to continue to roam the 3 realms, or are you going to the humans to lie low? You must know that we're under a lot of pressure to take you in. I'm not going. Luan did not even think about it. He rejected him directly. I'm not going to live under someone else's roof. He was a powerhouse who had broken 7 after all. He was not a beginner either. Otherwise, he would not have dared to fight King Kuan to the death. He did not believe that a powerhouse like him would need to live under someone else's roof to survive. Fang Ping smiled. Up to you. But then again, when you're surrounded and killed, don't regret your decision today. If I were the Chu Wu lineage and had the ability to kill you, I wouldn't give up. It's not just me. Hong Kuan and the others are the same. Who asked you to be a *T stirrer? Of course, they might try to rope you in, but you still have to work hard for them. In fact, you don't have much conflict with the human race, but you have enmity with other parties. I don't think you have much choice. Fang Ping sighed. Those who have broken 8 have a big nest. You're just a guy who has broken 7. You're weak and have no one to support you. You still want to roam the 3 realms as you did in the past. You're really too naive. Also, did you notice? Most of those who have broken 8 have forces and territories. Maybe this has something to do with them breaking 8. Luan scolded. Who are you trying to fool? Does that stupid dog have it? Fang Ping said lightly, of course he does. Tengu and Song Mao are on the same side. Song Mao has friends all over the world. Of course, he's on the same side as Tengu. Look at the Sea Guardian. He controls misery. The Heavenly King suppresses the humans. King Kuan controls the divine sect. The leader of Chu Wu controls the Chu Wu mainland. The weapon master controls the old heavenly court. Hong Yu controls the land realm in the past. Now, he's also rebuilding the heavenly court. Do you think those who have broken 8 don't want to roam the world alone? Why do they control their own forces? Is it because of power? I, who has only started martial arts for a few years, have some understanding. The great Tao doesn't exist alone. At their level, they've probably sensed something. The great Tao will eventually return to one. Return to one. You've always been one. How can you return to one? Return to the person, the heart, the Tao, and all living beings. You, Heavenly King Chaotic, are still a notch lower than them. Even Li Zhu understands this. That's why you've been holing up in the Catacombs Palace. As soon as he said this, the Heavenly King suppressing looked at Fang Ping in surprise. Chaotic was also stunned. Was this for real? Fang Ping grinned. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. Try it. If you go on like this, it'll be very difficult for you to break 8. On the contrary, I'm afraid the powerhouses from all forces will improve rapidly in the future. Think about it carefully. If you're done and the humans come, I can confer you the title of Chaos-Suppressing Envoy. People like you are the most suitable to suppress chaos in the world, because you're the biggest chaos. Fang Ping's words were so messy that he wanted to beat him to death. You're the chaos. Am I as messy as you? However, at this time, Chaotic was still a little unconvinced. Looking at the Heavenly King suppressing, he asked suspiciously, breaking 8 really requires gathering a big force. The Heavenly King suppressing laughed. I don't know about this, but since ancient times, powerhouses who broke 8 alone, the Heavenly King suppressing thought for a long time and shook his head. I don't think so. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors are also like-minded people. When they were young, they went on expeditions everywhere. When they first became supreme, they each led a region. Perhaps you can break this rule if you prove your Tao to be the strongest by yourself. Chaotic thought about it carefully and cursed in his heart. It seemed like there wasn't. Even the stupid heavenly dog had many good friends. Could it be that vagrants really couldn't become supreme? Bah, your whole family are vagrants. Chaotic scolded again in his heart. Did he have to create a force himself? Chaotic had a slight headache. Was there a need to do this? Was it so troublesome? At this moment, Fang Ping no longer cared about him. He looked at Zi, and smiled. Senior Lin, Old Cat has been talking about you for a long time. Senior's injuries aren't light. Why don't you come to the human realm and rest for a few days before thinking about other things? Lindsay glanced at him. She had a feeling that this human king's smile was somewhat malicious. However, she was indeed heavily injured. The 3 realms was getting more and more dangerous. Thinking of this, Lindsay nodded slightly. Thank you for your hospitality, Human King. Senior, you're too kind. Fang Ping turned to look at Long Huan. Senior, the catacombs are in chaos now. The exit of dragon transformation seems to be inside the catacombs. Senior has always been in alliance with humans. Be careful not to be plotted against. Why don't you move dragon transformation to the human realm? We can take care of each other. Long Bien nodded with a smile, agreeing to it. Fang Ping looked at Gong Juanzi, who was outside. Senior Gong Juanzi. Gong Juanzi was just about to speak when Fang Ping interrupted him. We can still talk about what happened before. Senior Long Huan just happened to come to the human realm. Let's talk and get to know each other. Maybe there's something to talk about. Long Huan looked at them suspiciously. What did that mean? Did it have something to do with me? Gong Juanzi avoided his gaze. He cursed in his heart. Fang Ping was trying to coerce him. If he didn't come, he would tell Long Huan that he wanted to ride him. How could he not go? Gong Juanzi was helpless. Then I'll go to the human realm too. I haven't been there for many years. Fang Ping laughed. Very good. They were all gathered in the human realm. There would be more powerhouses among humans. With more powerhouses, it would not be a problem to strengthen the defense. Not only these people, but he was also prepared to continue spreading the news and hook up with Immortal Seeking Island. Who was Zier? She was a descendant of Emperor Spirit. Immortal Seeking Island now had two saints. One was Kai Dai, and the other was Nun Seeking Immortal. She also had the strength of a saint. This was not a small force. After calculating for a while, Fang Ping's eyes revealed a smile. The strength of humans had skyrocketed. Not only that, he glanced at Heavenly King, subduing from the corner of his eyes. This old guy was the scary one. No one could figure out how strong he was. Not killing sacred martial god today had a lot to do with Heavenly King subduing. Killing sacred martial god was to establish dominance and to eradicate the opponent. However, Heavenly King subduing sent the Chuwu leader flying with a punch. This was not necessary. Moreover, the Chuwu lineage was stronger than Fang Ping imagined. They had to be united. Tubai and the others actually dared to fight alongside sacred martial god. No one fled. There was also a Broken Eight who attacked. Just because of this, Fang Ping knew that he could not easily kill the Chuwu deity now. Otherwise, he might provoke the entire Chuwu lineage. After weighing the pros and cons, although Fang Ping acted rashly, he was not really stupid. Not to mention provoking a great enemy, Heavenly King subduing might not be happy. Now that he let sacred martial go, Heavenly King subduing would feel comfortable. After feeling comfortable, he might still feel embarrassed. The humans had always been decisive in killing. Because of him, he let go of a Heavenly King's great enemy. This was giving him face. Moreover, the Chuwu lineage was intimidated. They might not find trouble with the humans in the short term. After thinking about it, Fang Ping finally chose to give up on killing Sacred Martial. It was not worth it. Fang Ping let Sacred Martial go. All the powerhouse's thoughts were in turmoil. The humans had succeeded in establishing their dominance today. They easily killed 5 saints, almost killed all 4 Heavenly King powerhouses, and sent a Broken Eight powerhouse flying when he tried to stop them. With such strength, without 2 powerhouses above Broken Eight attacking together, they could not do anything to the humans. Before this, the humans had always been the target of besiegement. Now, however, it might not be. At least, no one could restrain Heavenly King subduing in the short term. It should not be. The powerhouses understood that the next step should be entering a period of moderation, waiting for all the powerhouses to recover, waiting for all the powerhouses to stabilize their forces, waiting for all the powerhouses to unite. This was the mainstream next. The 3 realms, which had been at war for many days, was probably going to enter a period of peace. At the cost of many powerhouses' death, the 3 realms had reached a temporary balance. This was also what the human race wanted. However, Fang Ping and Zhang Tao knew that the hidden danger was still there. Not only was it there, but it was even more dangerous. Old Devil Li sent a Broken Eight powerhouse flying with a punch. Zhang Tao transmitted his voice to Fang Ping. I'm afraid he'll be in a lot of trouble next. For a powerhouse like him, now that there are no powerhouses of the same rank as him standing on his side and surpassing others, the other Broken Eight powerhouses will definitely not sit back and watch. King Kuan and the others will definitely contact all parties to fight against Old Devil Li. Today's attack may feel good, but very soon it may create a situation that will urge all parties to join forces. Fang Ping's expression changed slightly. He transmitted his voice. I know, but today's attack has also bought us some time, a period of moderation. The old guy probably knows that this will happen. Now, he's probably hoping that we can grow up quickly. before all parties join forces. If we also have broken 8 combat strength, then there's nothing to be afraid of. It's okay. If it really doesn't work, I'll send Cat to the Sky Cemetery. There are still 2 broken 8 powerhouses there, so we might not be afraid of all parties. Skyhound and that person from the Cat Palace might not help the humans, I know, but their interests are still aligned. At the very least, they will help Cat to hold back the Chu clan, right? That's true. Old Zhang nodded. Even if Skyhound and Tianchen did not help them, they would still deal with the Chu clan because this clan wanted to kill Cat. Fang Ping continued to transmit his voice. You should break through the 7th level as soon as possible. After breaking through the 7th level, if you can rope in this fellow, you guys still have hope of fighting against a person who is not that strong. As for the God Creation Envoy, I will go and probe again. Maybe I can completely rope him in. After saying that, Fang Ping pondered for a moment and continued, the key is still the humans themselves. Right now, they are all external help. It's too difficult for the humans to rely on just the few of us. These old antiques might not always be on our side. You saw it today. Old Devil Li is a little hesitant. This is still an acquaintance. You have to know that he still has a teacher. Who knows if his teacher is dead or not? On the human side, it's enough to produce a few Heavenly King powerhouses as soon as possible. Zhang Tao was helpless. It's too difficult. New martial arts 100 years, with him and Fang Ping, it was already beyond imagination. If they wanted to produce a Heavenly King, how could it be so easy? Jiang Hao has hope. He is the reincarnation of the Devil Emperor. Although the Devil Emperor cut off all contact when he died, he had felt everything before and knew everything about a Heavenly King. He has hope of advancing to a Heavenly King in a short period of time. Fang Ping continued, Old Wang and the others might have a chance. You should have seen it today. That fellow Ironhead has sneaked into the Chu mainland. He is even by the side of that supreme powerhouse. I think there might be some gains. That kid is too bold. Old Zhang also sighed. Li Hansong was too bold. He had sneaked into the side of a Broken 8 powerhouse. Was he not afraid that his identity would be known, and he would be crushed to death? Fang Ping continued. In the past 3 months of battle, everyone has actually improved. I actually sensed something before and tried the ability of Dao. You should be able to have some resonance with these powerhouses. You are strong, they are strong, but you don't seem to have given anything back to them. There's nothing back. Old Zhang said gloomily, I felt it. It almost sucked me to death. I can't even protect myself now. How would I dare to give back anything? I have it. There's no hurry. Fang Ping chuckled. It's not just you. Although my great Tao has collapsed, the source world hasn't. Some of my abilities can still be used. I'll also try to give everyone some feedback. This way, the humans will enter a period of rapid development. Fang Ping said this, and said, when we go back, we'll ask old Devil Li for some good stuff. I don't believe that he, a Broken 8 powerhouse, doesn't have any assets. Think of a way to empty him. Ask him to fight on par with anyone. Who is he trying to fool? At the very least, we have to ask him to find a way to promote Commander Li. No, there's also Warlord. One is a descendant, and the other is an adopted son. If we don't give him any benefits, we'll pester him to death. Old Zhang could not help but laugh. At the back, Heavenly King Subduer was receiving some people's worshipping gazes. At this moment, he suddenly looked at the 2 people in front of him. He had a bad feeling. Did this old man's performance today was a little too powerful? Were these 2 black-hearted fellows scheming against him? Heavenly King Subduer's eyes flickered. Maybe this old man should find a place to go into closed-door cultivation for a while. When these 2 black-hearted fellows got together, He felt that although he had lived for a long time, he might not be able to win against them in scheming against them. Chapter 1230. May 6th. Fong Ping entered the fake sky cemetery. May 11th. 5 days later, Fong Ping walked out of the fake sky cemetery. In just 5 days, the world had been turned upside down. On this day, Fong Ping, King Wu, and the rest returned, back to Earth, at the entrance to Mount Imperial Sea from Star Town. When Fong Ping and the others walked out of the catacombs, the group of people opposite them were excited, and some were sad. Dead. Many people had died. More than 50 desperation powerhouses had entered. Now, less than half were left. On Star Town's side, many people had come, including Jiang Hao, Jiang Chao, and the rest. Everyone received the news that the human powerhouses were about to return. They had all come here to wait. However, at this moment, seeing the powerhouses bathed in blood, seeing that more than half of the powerhouses were gone, everyone still looked sad. More than half of Star Town's 13 elders were dead. The Yang family, the Su family, the Chun family, the Jiang family, the Lu family, one by one, the elders could no longer be seen. If Star Town was like this, needless to say, the other parties had suffered heavy losses. Among the more than 20 surviving powerhouses, Zhang Weiyu, Nan Yunyue, Wu Chuan, Tianmu, Zhao Xingwu, Chen Yaozu, and Kong Lingyuan, the 7 younger generation powerhouses, were all alive. This also meant that they occupied a large number of the survival list. Including the other elders of Star Town, there were more than 10 surviving powerhouses on Sino Nation's side. The other 5 sacred lands added together, there were only about 10 surviving powerhouses. The losses were unimaginably heavy. Low sobs could be heard faintly, even though some descendants had already discovered that the elders' life statue was broken. They still had some expectations. But now, their hopes were shattered. They were really dead. Sorrow began to spread. Fong Ping did not say anything this time, nor did he stop the spread of sorrow. Close to 30 human powerhouses had died in battle. The powerhouses who had protected humanity for hundreds of years had fallen one after another. It was time to give everyone a chance to grieve. After being stubborn for so long, even he was tired and exhausted. If it was a place with no one around, Fong Ping would want to cry. Kill. There was no end to the killing. Battle after battle, risking life and death again and again. He was also tired. Old Zhang and the others had been in the Sky Cemetery for the past few months. Battle the domain zones, the Church of the God of War, the catacombs, the revived sages, the Sealing Heavens faction, and everyone else. He had to be first in every battle. He also wanted to rest, but he had no choice but to fight. If he didn't fight, who else among the humans could? Again and again, he was tired. Now that he had returned to Earth, old Zhang and the rest were by his side. Heavenly King subduing, and the rest had also returned. Fong Ping's essence, qi, and spirit were a little exhausted. For a moment, he was in a trance. Fong Ping, while he was in a daze, Wu Quishan called out to him with a worried expression. Everyone is looking at you. Say something. At that moment, Fong Ping's dazed expression affected everyone. Zhang Tao and the Heavenly King were both worried. Fong Ping was no longer the MCMEU student of the past. He was no longer the silly kid who only knew how to get into trouble. Now, he was still a human king. Even if the great Tao collapsed, he would still be the current sovereign personage. In the past few months, Fong Ping had created too many miracles. During those few days in the fake heavenly tomb, he slaughtered his way out of the human race's name, obtaining the acknowledgement of those at the peak of the older generation. This was the current generation's human king, the king of the human race. Zhang Tao was also strong, but compared to Fong Ping, Zhang Tao lacked some of his sharpness. It was because of age and the era. In that era, the human race needed people like Zhang Tao to maintain stability. In this era, the human race needed people like Fang Ping to fight against enemies from all directions. Fang Ping came back to his senses. Looking around, everyone was looking at him. At this moment, the martial king did not hide his brilliance. The heavenly king did not hide his brilliance. The third-generation guardian of the human race, Fang Ping restrained his emotions and revealed a smile. He smiled brightly. We've won. We've returned victorious once again. I don't know how many times I've come to announce the news of victory, but I still want to say that the human race has won. The martial king, the heavenly king, and the other human heroes have returned. We've defeated powerful enemies from all directions. We've defeated the Grand Master, the catacombs, the ancient heavenly court powerhouses, the beginner martial artists from 30,000 years ago, the saints, and the heavenly king. Today, I don't want to talk about the news of victory. I want to say something else. Fang Ping's voice spread in all directions, echoing between heaven and earth. Victory, victory after victory has made the human race numb, making people feel that the human race is really invincible. But I don't want everyone to be blindly happy, blindly confident. In the past 3 months, the human race has lost 31 desperate realm powerhouses in battle. As for the human race, in the past hundreds and thousands of years, the number of desperate realm powerhouses accumulated is less than 60. Fang Ping's voice reverberated in all directions, his tone impassioned. More than half have fallen. These seniors, the martyrs, have protected the human race for thousands of years. Today, not even their bones remain. We can't even collect their bodies. Everyone, the human race, please remember them. I hope everyone can remember them for the rest of their lives. At least you have to know who's protecting you, who's sacrificing their lives in exchange for today's peace and prosperity. In the past few months, the martyr seniors who have fallen, the human race sword king, the human race sun god, the human race great pharaoh, Fang Ping reported the names one by one, recounting their lives one by one. Born as a human, fighting in neo-martial arts, dying in neo-martial arts, dying for the human race, dying for protection. 31 desperate realm powerhouses. Some came from sex, some came from ancient times, some even had unknown origins. It didn't matter, they only had one identity, the human race's martyrs. Sobbing sounds reverberated in all directions. At this moment, some were crying, some were choking. In less than 3 months, 31 paragons had died in battle. The joy and joy from before vanished into thin air at this moment. Fang Ping's voice was still ringing in everyone's ears. We're very tired, very, very tired. The powerhouses in the past 30,000 years have awakened one by one. We can still fight, still dare to fight, not afraid to fight. But we want to rest for a while. Is there anyone else in the human race who can fight? We need the strength of the new generation. We need the strength of our companions. We need support. We need replenishment. In Fang Ping's voice, exhaustion was revealed for the first time. The more the seniors fight, the fewer there are. I don't wish that one day these seniors who have silently protected the human race for countless years only appear in the history books. I want some of them to live on. But now there are fewer and fewer. The paragons of the 6 great sacred lands are almost all dead. We can still fight, but we don't know how long we can fight. My compatriots, rise up. We are waiting for you in the future. We are waiting for you to fight together, to protect together. On this day, Fang Ping did not say too much about killing enemies and obtaining rewards. On this day, the king of humanity showed signs of fatigue. They could still fight until the end of their lives. But those seniors were getting fewer and fewer. so few that they were about to wither away in this world. They needed the emergence of the new generation of powerhouses, needed their strength to continue the conquest, to pass on the torch of humanity. On the 11th of May, Fong Ping and the others returned. They brought good news and bad news. The human race mourned together. Magic City. Fong Ping said some things in Capital City. Without further delay, he returned to Magic City and returned home. The other powerhouses also returned to their respective clans or sacred lands. Everyone needed to rest for a few days, have a good sleep, and eat a good meal. For hundreds of years, they almost did not sleep a day, did not eat a good meal. The sun shone brightly. Fong Ping slept for the whole day. No one came to disturb him. No one came to look for him. He slept like that until noon on the 12th. Fong Ping had not had a good sleep for a long time. This time, he slept especially soundly. The human world was a paradise. Walking to the window, he felt the warmth of the sun, enjoyed the gentle breeze, and closed his eyes, enjoying this rare moment. At this moment, King of humanity and heavenly kings were all forgotten. If that cat did not use its tail to sweep his nose so annoyingly, Fong Ping felt that this kind of life would be very happy. He opened his eyes. In front of him, the cat's paws were on the edge of the balcony, its big tail sweeping around, staring at Fong Ping, its face full of grievance. Fong Ping was helpless. He patted its big head. What now? Chu Wu was defeated. You're not in danger now. Why are you disturbing me instead of sleeping? The cat said aggrievedly, Meow, liar, they bullied me. The fake human emperor took my cat nest and didn't give it to me. That old girl took my cat palace and refused to return it to me. I have a cat palace and a cat nest, and now I have to sleep on the grass. How pitiful. Fong Ping said patiently, Cats are born and raised by the earth. The earth is their bed, and the sky is their blanket. This is the life a cat should have. It's not normal for a cat to live in a cat palace. You're an old cat. You should know how a cat lives. Big cat, don't worry about your cat palace and cat nest anymore. Needed divine weapons to increase her combat strength. Old Zhang needed a cat nest. He was prepared to dismantle the cat fruit to make some divine weapons and provide some natural treasures to human powerhouses. Letting a cat sleep was the biggest waste, especially that beast emperor skin. Heavenly King Zhen said that he was going to find a god-crafting envoy to make a set of armor, a top-grade armor. Maybe it could be made into a demigod or even a divine armor. Why would it continue to be a temporary residence for the cat? Although this was originally the cat's, Fong Ping felt that it should not be wasted on Big Cat. The cat's paws were on the balcony, its head raised, full of sadness. Was that so? Would this cat have to sleep on the grass in the future? The cat palace and cat nest were all gone. Fong Ping chuckled. Don't be sad. It's gone. After a few years, no one will need it anymore. Naturally, it will be returned to you. All right. The cat muttered. Forget it. It did not want it anymore. Sleeping on the grass was actually quite good. Fong Ping did not continue this topic. He stretched and asked, Since yesterday, has anyone looked for me? With the cat here, Fong Ping really did not pay attention to any movements yesterday. He just slept soundly and did not care about those things. However, asking the cat was obviously a waste of time. From yesterday until now, the only thing this cat did was ask for the cat palace and cat nest. In the end, it was rejected. As soon as Fong Ping woke up, he came to complain. Fortunately, someone sensed the recovery of Fong Ping's qi. Soon, from afar, someone transmitted his voice. Fong Ping, come to Sky Island for a meeting. The person who transmitted his voice was Zhang Tao. Fong Ping was sleeping soundly. He really did not sleep, nor did he rest. He had not returned for a few months. From yesterday until now, he had been dealing with some human matters. In the few months that Fong Ping oversaw the human race, he really did not pay much attention to these. Fong Ping was only in charge of the battle. He did not care about anything else. "You're disturbing my peace." Fong Ping curled his lips. It was rare for him to rest for a day. This fellow was like a death sentence, looking for him as soon as he woke up. Fong Ping seriously suspected that this fellow had been monitoring him. Without saying anything more, Fong Ping flew out of the window. Behind him, the big cat's tail curled around his thigh and floated forward with him. Fong Ping turned around and took a look. The old cat muttered, "I'm going to listen too." The pseudo-emperor said he saw a spirit emperor, but he refused to tell me. He insisted on telling you only after you woke up. I'm so angry. He's not the pseudo-human emperor now. Fong Ping laughed. My emperor path has collapsed and merged with him. He should be considered a true emperor now. No way. The cat retorted. He's definitely not a true emperor. He's only the emperor of the neo-martial artists. He's not the emperor of the entire human race, unless he unifies the three realms. Immortals and gods were all humans. Fong Ping was slightly moved. The real emperor, was he the master of the three realms? He really did not care much about these. According to the cat, even if old Zhang was the emperor of the human race, he was actually not the real emperor. Fong Ping did not say much. He dragged the lazy cat and flew toward Sky Island. The cat was so lazy that it made people's hair stand on end. It was too lazy to fly, so it hung on Fong Ping's thigh. Fong Ping was strong now. Otherwise, he might not have been able to drag it. The cat seemed to be a little attached to him. Fong Ping roughly knew why. In the Battle of Chu Wu this time, the human race did not give up on the cat. The cat had lived for so many years. No matter how stupid it was, it still understood. In the past, besides Fong Ping, this cat almost never had any contact with others. But now, it took the initiative to ask old Zhang for a cat nest. This was actually a kind of closeness, because the human powerhouses had started a war with Chu Wu because of it, on Sky Island. At this moment, powerhouses were as numerous as clouds. Heavenly King Old Zhang, Dragon Form, Z Air, Saint Level Heavenly Wood, Gong Juanzi, even Emperor Level Li Chongsheng, Li Zhen, War King, Shun Haotian Mingting, and Sikadir, who had transformed into human form, as well as Wu Quishan and the other desperation powerhouses. Some of them had returned, while some had to continue staying behind. Jiang Hao, who had not spoken much, was also among the crowd. In the hall, the seats were arranged messily. Everyone sat lazily, without any rules. War King glanced at Jiang Hao a few times. A few times he wanted to speak, but he did not say anything. This state had been maintained for a while. Zhang Tao glanced at the two of them, chuckled, and said, thinking back a few years ago on the human side, other than Heavenly King suppression, there was not even a single emperor level. Now, in just a few years, the human race powerhouses are as numerous as the clouds. I'm also happy, War King interrupted him directly. What's the use of saying all these pompous things? The human race's crisis has not been resolved yet. What's there to be happy about? Zhang Tao could not help but laugh. If you have a temper, don't vent it on me. This is your own family matter. Solve it yourself. What family matter do I have to solve? War King curled his lips, too lazy to say anything. He did not want to talk about Jiang Hao's matter now. Since unquestionable Jian had died in battle, then he would take it as unquestionable Jian had completely fallen and disappeared from the world. Jiang Hao, that was his Jiang Tianming's descendant. There was no point in talking about it. As the few of them were chatting, Fong Ping walked in carrying the ash cat. He casually tossed the ash cat aside, not caring about it. The ash cat fell to the ground, rolled over, and continued to lie on its stomach, not making a sound. On the other side, when Lindsay saw this scene, her eyelids twitched. This cat was about to become a family pet now. She remembered that in the past, it still had a little temper. Now that Fong Ping was ravaging it like this, it did not even resist. If her aunt was still here and saw Fong Ping tossing the ash cat out like a sandbag, who knew what she would think? Fong Ping did not care about this. He cupped his hands at everyone, found a seat, and sat down. Yawning, he asked, "What's going to be discussed in today's meeting?" "Be more presentable." Old Zhang chided, but did not bother much. Very quickly, he said, "The situation of the three realms, the future trend, the human race's response." Fong Ping looked around and asked, "Old Devilly didn't come?" "He said he was injured, so he went to heal." Old Zhang shook his head. Warlord sneered. "He's probably afraid of being tricked by you two, so he went into hiding." "Injured? How could he be injured?" "He sent a powerhouse who broke 8 flying with 1 punch. This old thing is not a good person. If he had erupted earlier, Old Chen and the others would not have died." Li Zhen raised his eyebrows slightly, but did not say anything. Zhang Tao shook his head, saying, "Don't talk about these useless things. I'm afraid he has his reasons for not going all out. Moreover, if he was really unbeatable at that time, I'm afraid all the heavenly kings of the neutral sex will stand on the opponent's side. No matter how strong he is, he can't deal with all these people alone. The consequences might be even worse." At this moment, when Lindsay heard that, she explained, "The situation of the three realms is still a little complicated. Uncle Zhen did not go all out before because it was a taboo. Now that there are many heavenly kings, and those who broke 8 have also started to show up and become active, he only dared to go all out. If it had been like this back then, Uncle Zhen might have been in trouble." Fong Ping said in surprise, "Uncle Zhen?" Lindsay smiled and said, "Martial Uncle Zhen's master is Senior Yangshen. Senior Yangshen had also taught my aunt, who is Spirit Emperor, in the past. When I was young, Uncle Zhen went to Spirit Emperor Palace. I met him, so I've always called him Uncle." Fong Ping gritted his teeth. His seniority was really high, which also meant that he was really old. Zhang Tao did not care about this. He frowned slightly. "Trouble, we've seen his strength. Even a powerhouse who broke 8 was not his match. What trouble could there be?" Lindsay said in a low voice, "The three realms is not that simple. Since 10,000 years ago, the top-notch powerhouses have been making arrangements. None of those who participated were weaker than Uncle Zhen. The three realms has always maintained a balance. There are strong and weak forces in the three realms, but until now, no one has been completely wiped out. This is not a coincidence, but a necessity. Someone is maintaining the operation of all this. They will not allow some people to interfere and scrupulously change the situation and destroy their arrangements. Uncle Zhen should know something, so he can't be too conspicuous. Otherwise, it's hard to say whether there are still humans today." Fong Ping frowned. "Someone is hiding in the dark, someone who can deal with suppressing Heavenly King?" Lindsay thought for a while and said, "It's possible. All these years, I've wandered the three realms and stayed in misery for a long time. 3,000 years ago, I participated in the war that destroyed the earthly Emperor God dynasty. You stole my cat palace to participate in the war. Shameless." The cat suddenly muttered and continued to sleep. Lindsay was speechless. She did not know whether to laugh or cry. "What do you need the divine weapon for? It's a waste. Besides, my participation in the war back then had something to do with you." Lindsay said impatiently, "If it wasn't for my aunt asking me to take care of you before she left, do you think I would care about you? I didn't want to participate in the war 3,000 years ago. My main goal was still junior martial artist. I wanted to seal the connection between junior martial artist and the three realms. Lindsay continued. However, there was news that the earthly emperor's avatar wanted to kill the cat. The cat muttered again. Everyone wants to kill the cat. The cat is eating your family's food. Lindsay was helpless. Don't talk so much. I've never seen you so talkative before. Killing you is something you ask for yourself. You offended so many people in the past. After my aunt passed away, who didn't want to kill you? 3,000 years ago, there was news that the earthly emperor wanted to change the world and rebuild the three realms. If he killed you, the origin would be shaken and the world would change. Perhaps there would be an opportunity. I didn't pay much attention to it at first. But soon, there was news that the heavenly hound died in the heavenly tomb. At that time, I sensed that something was wrong. Once the heavenly hound died, something might really happen to the cat. That's why I came to the land realm. I took the cat palace and hid in the dark. When the war broke out, the earthly emperor's avatar was besieged. At the critical moment, did you really think he was waiting for death? Lindsay said, that day, he really wanted to find you. It was probably the same as the news I received. He probably wanted to kill you to see if there was a chance to turn the situation around. When you were ambushed, King Kuan took the opportunity to advance his origin greatly. Many people knew about this. At that time, the earthly emperor's avatar should be Hongyu, probably at the peak of Break 7. If he killed you, the origin would be shaken. The gate of sealed path might be shaken too. He might be able to take the opportunity to break one of the gates. Once he breaks 8, it won't be so easy to kill him. It won't be so easy to be besieged in the land realm. That's why I chose to attack that time. I didn't give him a chance to find you. Everyone looked at Lindsay. Lindsay was not trying to show off. Instead, she said in a low voice, the earthly emperor's avatar might want to kill the cat. I didn't think about this before. The powerhouses of the three realms probably didn't think about it either. If he really was the earthly emperor's avatar, it would mean that he didn't need to use the cat's death to shake the origin. The person who spread this news probably knew that he was a fake and needed this opportunity. This news came too suddenly. I don't even know where I heard it from back then. There must be a powerhouse secretly guiding me to find out about all this. That's why I said that the situation in the three realms is very complicated. Back then, there must be someone who didn't want Hongyu to succeed. That's why he led everything. As for Hongkuan, I don't know if he was influenced by someone or something else. He had a lot to do with Hongyu's failure. Let a heavenly king? Fang Ping raised an eyebrow. Old Zhang frowned too. If that's the case, there's a powerhouse hiding in the dark. Could it be a powerhouse with mentality? Lindsay nodded. That's possible. His ability won't be lower than Breaking 8. That's why I feel that Master Zhen has his reservations. It might even be one of the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors secretly guiding all of this. Master Zhen has been hiding for so many years. He must have sensed something. He's extremely powerful. Maybe he knew something long ago. Zhang Tao nodded. Interesting. A long time ago, I said that there might be a group of balancers in the 3 realms. I guessed that people like Old Devil Li and Li Zhu might be balancers, maintaining the current development of the 3 realms. Now, it seems that might not be the case. People like Old Devil Li are probably part of the scheme. The real balancers might be 1 or even a few of the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors. Fang Ping did not care about this. He said lazily, "So what? Schemes usually don't end well. They usually nurture a group of people who can kill them. If these people want to scheme, let them. I don't think they can do anything about it. Old Zhang, This information is useful, but not very useful. Don't worry too much about it. The most important thing now is to improve the overall combat strength, as well as to form alliances, rope in some people, and fight against others. Tengu, Cat Palace's seneschal, Sherpa, these people's combat strength must be released. As for the chaos of beginner martial artists, who cares? Defend Earth first. Others can be discussed later. Beginner martial artists come out and run amok. I don't believe that King Kuan and the others can sit still. There's no need to trap the human side's combat strength. If they're unlucky, everyone will be unlucky. That dog's brain is not clear. When it wakes up, it drags people to the heavenly cemetery. Its intelligence is limited. Among the crowd, Lindsay, Long Bien, and the others twitched their mouths. Only Fong Ping dared to say this. Tengu was not here. Otherwise, one man and one dog would have beaten the dog's brain until it exploded. Fong Ping said again, "Recently, old Zhang, you'll be in charge of internal affairs, and I'll be in charge of external affairs. On one hand, we can improve our combat strength. On the other hand, we can seek help from some allies. We can rope in the Spirit Emperor bloodline, the Beast Emperor bloodline, the Emperor Nen bloodline, and the Emperor God bloodline. Also, guide the situation. Don't focus on us. The new heavenly court has been established in the catacombs. If we make a fuss about this, there might be a good show to watch. When I get back, I'll look for Feng Yun and make a Feng Yun list to expose the catacombs' strength. 11 saints. I don't think it's all of them. Even if it's all of them, we have to fake some. Let Hong Yu be busy for a while, lest that fellow schemed against someone." At this point, Fong Ping asked, "You said that you met Spirit Emperor. What did Spirit Emperor say?" Everyone looked at old Zhang. Lindsay and the cat looked at him hurriedly. Zhang Tao smiled and said, "Nothing much. First, there might be traitors among the 9 emperors. Whoever is alive might be one. Second, there's a flaw in the imperial path. What flaw might be related to the origin path. Third, let the cat think more about her. That's about it." Lin Zi was a little disappointed. Seeing this, Zhang Tao said casually, "Oh, right, I also mentioned Senior Lin. Let Senior Lin find Sherpa and rope him in to protect the cat. That's about it." Fong Ping secretly curled his lips. If this was said by Spirit Emperor, he would write his name backwards. Old Zhang was lying with his eyes wide open. He knew old Zhang's character, but Lindsay did not. She dared not believe that someone would simply fabricate the words of an emperor. At this moment, she did not suspect much and believed it. Old Zhang did not care about this. Seeing Fong Ping looking at him with contempt, he scolded him telepathically. "What are you looking at? I'm saving them. The human race is so strong. It's so dangerous for them to move alone. When we go to the human race in the future, we can take care of each other, right? I'm also leaving a descendant for Spirit Emperor to repay him." Fong Ping nodded. That made sense. Forget it. Whatever you say. Fong Ping also felt that following his side had a better future. What old Zhang said was right. It was a white lie. P.S. Only 2 chapters left. The plot will ease up a little. Fighting every day, fighting until I'm about to explode. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.